Oilers captured their first of 3 Stanley Cups behind the Conn Smythe MVP performance of Mark Messier. The reign atop the NHL continued for 2 of the next 3 seasons with final round triumphs over Philadelphia. Wayne Gretzky took playoff MVP honors in 1985 and was also instrumental as the Oilers prevailed over the Flyers and Smythe winner Ron Hextall last season. Now the Oilers look for their own place in hockey history using the lightning magic of Grant Fuhr in goal and the usual dominance of the great one, Wayne Gretzky, as they seek a sweep for their 4th Stanley Cup in a brief 9-year NHL history. For the Boston Bruins, if a return to the glory years of 70 and 72 is to be possible, well, it must start tonight with the knowledge only one team in history has come from a 3-0 deficit to win the final. To start the long haul up the ladder, the Bruins turn back to Andy Moog in goal. Brilliant in Game 1, Moog must be equally effective or the Cup will remain in Edmonton come night 10. ESPN, the network of the National Hockey League, presents the road to the Stanley Cup, the oldest trophy competed for by professional athletes. The Stanley Cup Playoffs, the most grueling competition, both mentally and physically, in all of athletics. Who will be the sole survivor? Tonight, ESPN's Road to the Cup presents the Stanley Cup Championship. Live from the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts, it's Game 4 between the Edmonton Oilers and the Boston Bruins. Somewhere in the Boston Garden tonight lurks the Stanley Cup. A lot of hockey experts feel it will surface in the hands of the Edmonton Oilers later on tonight as Edmonton seeks to sweep the Bruins out of the Stanley Cup Finals. But don't tell that to Terry O'Reilly's team. All they're thinking about tonight is a win and extending the series to at least a 5th game Thursday in Edmonton. Good evening once again, everyone. I'm Tom Mees, and welcome again to the Stanley Cup Finals on ESPN. Well, as we look at our Stanley Cup front page, you will see why history is against the Boston Bruins tonight. They trail the Edmonton Oilers 3 games to none. Can they come back? Well, the last team to do so, the Toronto Maple Leafs against Detroit back in 1942. They were the only team to do so. The Oilers, meanwhile, were the last team that was swept out of the finals. They were swept out by the Islanders in 1983. Andy Moog will be in nets tonight for the Boston Bruins, making a return appearance after a great night in Game 1 of the series in Edmonton. Michael Talbot, who was injured in Game 3, will not play tonight. There will be some defensive replacements on hand for Terry O'Reilly's Boston Bruins. Well, the crowd will be jacked up, but as I said at the beginning, the odds are definitely against the Boston Bruins tonight. And I think Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement, you would have to agree, Boston has its hands full this evening.
Sure does. I think we owe these people, first of all, a weather forecast based on the fog we had 2 nights ago. Outside in Boston today, it was humid in the morning, it rained this afternoon, and even got more humid afterward. Inside the Garden right now, it's 78 degrees, the same temperature as it was at the same time 2 nights ago. What might the weather forecast be for the power play, though?
Well, I'll tell you what, the Boston Bruins have pretty well played the Oilers to a draw at even strength. It's the power play that has really done the Bruins in this series. Let's take a look at their overall numbers. 1 for 14 at the top, not strong. And you look at the other numbers, they are not strong either. They have only spent .748 in the attack zone. That's 1/3. They have only managed 8 shots on goal in 22 minutes and 37 seconds of attack time. If they want to win tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, they are going to have to outplay the Oilers on the special teams.
Well, when you think of the Oilers, you always wind up thinking about those star players, and the star players have been there for them.
They have been the ones that have been carrying the Oilers' power play. We're going to go ahead and look at their numbers for the series, and the big numbers at the top. 4 for 16 has been enough because it's a tight series, but look at the other numbers. They are not that strong. They have only spent 1/3 of the time in the attack zone. They've only averaged 1 shot every 2 minutes on the power play. But remember, the Bruins took those 2 double penalties in Game 2. It was a discipline situation, so discipline and special teams are the keys for the Bruins tonight.
And with this building warm again, Terry O'Reilly has decided for Game 4, he will go with 6 defensemen. That's a first for this series. Downstairs now to Mickey Redmond.
Thank you, guys. Of course, the Boston Bruins have tried about everything against the Edmonton Oilers, and nothing seems to have worked. The main thing is the Oilers have shut down their own blue line. The Bruins have not been able to dump and chase and go in and bang the corners and do the things that got them here. As a result, I think that what the Bruins have to do is to try to shut down the top 2 lines of the Oilers. The Gretzky line and the Messier line. Look at the font on the screen there. 25 points between these 2 lines are among all the 6 players, and the rest of them only 2 and 6 for the Oilers. So it's pretty obvious who's doing all the damage for the Edmonton Oilers. The Bruins have got to shut those guys down. It is a dangerous game to play, but they've got nothing left to lose. Nothing else has worked. Let's see if it'll work for them tonight.
All right, Mickey Redmond, thank you very much. You know, only 9 years in the National Hockey League for the Edmonton Oilers. They've done everything you can do in professional hockey except one thing. That is win the Stanley Cup on the road. They'll try and do that next on ESPN. It's Game 4 of the Stanley Cup just ahead. The Road to the Cup on ESPN tonight, coming from Boston, is being brought to you by Budweiser Beechwood Age, for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. And by Mitsubishi Motors, who invite you to come see the full line of cars and trucks. Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice. And by new Right Guard Sports Stick from Gillette. Antiperspirant and deodorant. Anything less would be uncivilized. The sellout crowd at Boston Garden, yes, they are hopeful, but I have a feeling they're also realistic. One person told me that the Bruins won their Stanley Cup when they beat Montreal. We'll see what the Bruins have left tonight. Once again, let's go to our broadcast position, bring in Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Thank you, Tom. 14,451. We know that much. We don't know how much some of them must have paid. Tickets outside on Causeway Street were being scalped for as much as $150 for a $33 seat before tonight's game. What about the edge with Edmonton up 3-0, Bill?
Well, to show you just how bleak a picture we think the Boston Bruins are facing, there is the edge. We have not given any edge to Boston, including playing in this building. The way the Oilers have gathered momentum as these playoffs have gone by, they are like a machine that is fine-tuned and oiled to the max. So that is the way we see it tonight, and that really is what is facing the Boston Bruins in this hockey game tonight.
The Boston Garden is very small, but the man they have called on to sing the anthems for a number of years here has a voice that is very big, booming, and powerful. His name is Rene Rancourt. They like him here, and they're even starting to chant not only for their Bruins, but also get themselves fired up as their emotions will peak following this anthem. Both the anthems of Canada and the United States are being sung by Rene Rancourt.
Mr. Ron Harry, and the playing and singing of the Canadian and American national anthems.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all thy sons' command. With glowing heart we see thee rise, the true North strong and free. From far and wide, oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, we stand on guard for thee. What so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and of the home of the
The fire of the Garden contrasted with the solemnity of Andy Moog, whom you saw close up. The goaltenders tonight will follow the officials in our announcement. Dennis Morrell, who worked Game 1 is back for Game 4. His first year in the finals. Swede Knox and Kevin Collins are the linesmen. As you see these numbers, there are others just as impressive. Last year, Grant Fuhr worked 68 total games, counting preseason and playoffs. Tonight's is number 112, and we thought Ron Hextall's 96 were impressive. 8-4-3 against the Bruins. Andy Moog, for the second time, is up against his old teammates. And last year in regular season, he had the better record. Terry O'Reilly will start the same forwards, Crowder, LeMay, and Linseman, that he used at the start of Game 3. Anderson, Simpson, and Messier, the starting combination for all 4 games for Glenn Sather. Muni tips. Messier has Glenn Anderson ahead. Hooked that from behind. Backhander, he scores! Glenn Anderson at 10 seconds, and the Oilers are in the lead.
Man, oh man. That didn't even give us a chance to lay out one of the realities of the situation tonight, and that is that the Bruins can ill afford to fall behind. One big reason, this Boston Garden crowd. You take them out of the hockey game, you take away a lot of the force that drives you into a forechecking mode. Watch it from the faceoff. How many times have we had to replay in this playoff year from the opening faceoff? This is Ray Bourque. Tries to make his way up ice. Do you see he tried to dump it in, and he was checked by Anderson? Messier sends Anderson away. Crowder, Linseman, all over Anderson. Backhand right between Moog's legs.
The Bruins in this playoff year have never come from behind to win a playoff game. LeMay taps, Crowder gets it. Knocked away by Messier. Messier stands up Linseman. Puck to LeMay. Mo LeMay with Crowder trying to fight his way to the front. LeMay shoved off by Muni. In to help out on defense is Kevin Lowe. Into the glove of Bourque. Ray Bourque pestered by Messier. It's followed up by Tikkanen. Linseman wedges him off, and so the Bruins can control. And the Oilers make their first shift change, bringing out Wayne Gretzky along with Jari Kurri and Esa Tikkanen. LeMay hangs one back in, and Fuhr will set it up. In case you're just joining us, you've missed a goal 1 minute and 5 seconds into the first period. The Oilers are leading 1-0 on a goal 10 seconds after the opening faceoff by Glenn Anderson. Puck jammed back along. Randy Gregg can't handle, so it's Burridge connecting on with Casper and then to Larson. Big drive, he scores! And it is going to be called back on an offside. These fans don't know that it will not count.
Their relation is going to turn into misery very shortly. It's starting to sink in now. Terry O'Reilly saw it right away. Reed Larson, making his first appearance in the finals, has scored a lot of goals from right here, folks. He has got still one of the hardest shots in hockey, and he blasted that right by Grant Fuhr, but a teammate was offside. You saw him jumping to get out of the way. Swede Knox made an excellent call. He was right on the line.
Larson along for Casper, and Larson hammers down Courtnall. It is Wesley flipping one along, but it is chopped further by Marquardt, and Marquardt will sure take a piece of somebody, although he got mostly glass that time. It is Lacombe. Starts one for McTavish that is scooped up by Casper. Casper leaned on by McTavish. Lacombe comes in and jousts with him, and then Larson is shoved off by Courtnall and paws back at him. And away from this, Dennis Morrell will call the first penalties. They'll be coincidental minors.
Here's a closer look at the offside. Watch Reed Larson winding up. Right there, Nevin Marquardt just lifted his left foot up in the air. And that's, wow, what a shot. Mickey Redmond, you're at ice level. Was that a shot?
I'll tell you, Larson, Billy, can shoot the puck with the best of them. You know, he hits the ice about 1.5 feet behind the puck, and he has probably the heaviest shot in the National Hockey League. Goaltenders are afraid of it, without a doubt. But, you know, even though that goal does not count, you can bet the Bruins are saying, hey, guys, Grant Fuhr is a human being after all. He's not invincible. Let's shoot the puck at him, and especially up high like Larson did right there.
You know, that's a good point. And the Oilers, or at least the Bruins, really haven't done that a lot, especially when there was fog. Nobody has drifted many long shots at Grant Fuhr. Here's another one.
Bourque shot tipped out of play by Jeff Bukaboom. And has been the case in the earlier games. We've seen a little Bruins old-time hockey where they follow through, they make the guy pay the price. But in the previous games, it has simply elapsed after the first half of the first period. We'll see if it does tonight. Messier and Muni get the assists on Anderson's ninth, third of the finals at 10 seconds. But did it stun or slow the Bruins? No, it hasn't. Janney has Neely on his right and Joyce on the left. Dennis Morrell becoming impatient with an Edmonton shift change.
Right, he wants, you know what Sather is trying to do? He is trying to get Messier out there against Craig Janney. But in this instance, he's not able to get Messier's whole line out there. Dennis Morrell has said, we'll let you on. So that accomplishes half of what Sather wants, and that is to let Messier take the faceoffs deep, or at least anywhere in the Oilers' zone.
Didn't look as though Fjord could see that one very well. Here is Curry trying to work one that is chopped away by Peterson. Curry in front of Gretzky. Oh, what a save made by Andy Moe. Back up now with it is Neely. Neely, big blast, and that one went wide. Grant Fjord does not look that quick back there. It is Bork tipping one back off. Chopped at by Janney, but now a delayed offside is being whistled down. 2:40 gone in the first period. 1-0 Edmonton. No changes at all in the Edmonton lineup, and beside Moog, we have mentioned Larson. Also in tonight, Marquardt, and a rookie by the name of Greg Hawgood, who is playing his first Stanley Cup final game. Hawgood from Kamloops, actually a native of Edmonton, but played for Kamloops, British Columbia in the Western League and was the Junior Defenseman of the Year. Scratches from Game 3 are McCarthy, Telvin, and Miller. Hawgood out for his first ever shift right now. He's number 40, and the puck comes to him. Dumps it back off, but it is Kevin Lowe. That one flipped near Hawgood. Krushelnyski freed it, but Sweeney starts it ahead for Middleton. Can't penetrate. Acton working it back along to Krushelnyski. Rolls, but Gord Kluzak preoccupied, or rather Hawgood preoccupied with Krushelnyski. Kluzak fires, and it is driven back around, though, by Lowe. Puck poked along by Krushelnyski. Checked by O'Dwyer. Moog allows it to trickle through. Kluzak over along with Acton and rams into him. O'Dwyer rolls it by Hawgood, so Sweeney has to drop back. Took a shove from Krushelnyski, but got the puck. Missed for Kluzak. Along it comes to Middleton. Then Sweeney has O'Dwyer on the left, but can't get it on the right to Hawgood. Krushelnyski drops it back, but Hawgood will take for Boston.
Boy, you can see that Hawgood already is trying to provide some of the offense that the Bruins haven't had. He is a prolific scorer, has great legs, can really motor out there. He is going to be up on the play all night. And as well, Terry O'Reilly had to dress 6 defensemen.
Messier leaned on enough by Larson that he couldn't get a shot away. And it is LeMay having Linseman ahead and gives to him. Linseman trying to get through. Diving play made by Gregg, who closed ranks with Smith. Back on now Glenn Anderson. Has Messier on the wing. Drops it to Anderson. Shot trickled in front. And winds up being trapped by Andy Moog. 15:52 to go in the first. 1-0, the defending champs.
Oh, the Messier line seems to have their legs tonight. Here's the pass back out to Glenn Anderson. There's a bit of a crowd in front. Too big a crowd. Crowder drags down Simpson. You can see the shot never got through.
Gregg's pass came to Peterson of Boston. Off the skates of Dennis Morrell, and Bort sends it all the way down. Center line and end line touched by the defending team, and icing will bring it back near Andy Moog. Well, Keith Acton was the man who broke the tie in Game 1 and won it 2-1. Wayne Gretzky had the key goal in Game 2, and Esa Tikkanen with the hat trick in the 3rd game. All 3 Edmonton victories. Let's go down to Mickey Redmond.
Thank you, Mike. You know, the last rush Bill was just talking about with Messier and Anderson, there was a look of fear in Larson's eyes, and he did a heck of a job to key off Messier into the corner just with the strength of the stick alone. But that's how the Oilers beat you. Those two just transition game, and they get enough of them, they will beat you sooner or later.
Mickey Redmond is stationed behind the glass where that last face-off took place. And now it's down at the end to your right as you watch, and well away from Mickey's end. Puck work back now to Casper. Casper on over to Peterson. His shot, tip, rebound just away from Casper as getting the deflection was Burridge. Back on with it, Jari Kurri feeds on over to Gretzky. Flips for Kurri. Kneeling play made by Peterson. Still they work for it, and Ray Bourque able to step away. Will he be more involved in the play tonight? Pass went beyond Marquardt, who just didn't know that it was coming. And getting there first for the icing and taking the thump was Jeff Bukaboom. And now Marquardt drawing a glance from Tikkanen.
You know, I would have to think that Marquardt might be a key. They have to look for someone tonight. He is small, but he is tenacious. He loves to hit. He plays way bigger than his size, and he is a forechecking demon. So is this guy, Randy Burridge, number 12. Here's the last save that Fjord made. See, Burridge was in front to deflect. Fuhr kicked it right out past the Bruin that was in the slot. Another look at it. See the Bruin frozen, looking right at us? Went right by him. That was Steve Kasper. You know, I mentioned that Terry O'Reilly really didn't have a choice dressing 6 defensemen. There's Marquardt forechecking. See what I mean about him going all out. With Michael Telvin being out of the lineup. Remember the other night he collided with McSorley? What is Terry O'Reilly going to do? If he puts Reed Larson in that hasn't played in a while, or puts Hoggett in, he can't really rely on either one of those guys because they might not be in game shape, especially Hoggett. He's a rookie. He almost had to dress 6 tonight because of the Telvin injury.
Now Bill O'Dwyer, center right, big drive is deflected away by Grant Fuhr. It is Sweeney taking over. Then along to O'Dwyer. Wrapped up by McSorley. That'll cost 2. The Bruin power play has had its problems. It scored once last game. It gets the first try tonight.
Boy, when you get that lateral movement coming across the blue line, really tough to defend against. You saw 3 Oilers right there around Billy O'Dwyer. See where McSorley's stick is? Right between O'Dwyer's legs. That's a play that a defenseman tries to make. When the guy has a step on you and is going laterally, sometimes it backfires on you because the guy gets locked up in your stick. Referee has absolutely no choice, as Denny Morrell didn't have that time. He had to call it.
In this series, it's interesting to note what you call thundering fouls. At least that's what I call them, aggressive fouls. The Bruins have far outdone the Oilers in that department, 18-6, but the Oilers have 2 more of the restraining fouls, one of which we've just seen in the trip to McSorley. It is Kevin Lowe for the shorthanded Oilers. Gave it up. Joyce a shot. Sprawling play. Rebound went wide as Joyce and Janney nearly able to connect. The puck sent out of play.
You know, the Oilers were in complete control, but when the Bruins swarm in with their tenacious forechecking and force a turnover, look at that. Craig Janney was moving in right there on Kevin Lowe, and that is not a typical Kevin Lowe play. But the Bruins were all in good positions to forecheck. The easiest play for Lowe was going around the boards, but he decided to jack it right up the center. Isn't that been the story of the Bruins? Okay, the Oilers have outplayed the Bruins in just about every game and in just about every instance, but when the Bruins have had chances like this, they have slipped right through their fingers, through their feet, and right by the net.
You often wonder how much of that is luck and how much is just being very tight, inexperienced perhaps, as here's Bork flipping over to Crowder, hands it over to Glenn Wesley, pass given up, and here come the Oilers. They can move out in the 3-on-2. Linzman scurrying to make it a 3-on-3 though, and gets back and does just that. Play breaks down. Messier loses. On with it now comes Crowder. Crowder stepping in with Bork along with Sweeney. Passes for Sweeney, but off his stick. Chased down by Gretzky. Puck worked on to Crowder. Muscled along by Lowe, but Crowder, with the help of Sweeney, able to pivot away and hand to Bork. Here's Bork with a shot. Save. Rebound. Linzman. Another save made by Fuhr as he had the short side closed off. Off of Ray Bork, who kept it from going the length. It's across to Wesley for Sweeney, but we have a shift change now in the power play for the Bruins. 13:20 to go, first period, 1-0 Edmonton. 50 seconds to go on the Bruin power play. Ray Bork back to get it. Kluzak is the other point man. They have Neely, Janney, and Joyce up front. Neely pulls up at the line. Janney unable to control, and it's Wayne Gretzky just pivoting and laying it back down. Reed Larson goes back. Key man on Detroit's power play for so many seasons, and he's been a valuable asset to the Bruins, though he hasn't played in this series until tonight. Puck skipped back down by Kluzak, and so it is Larson to play. Rolls it back off for Kluzak with 15 seconds to go on the man advantage. Neely got away from Lacombe, but not from McTavish. Feeds over to Lacombe. Without his stick is Larson as Lacombe's shot was saved by Moe. McTavish tripped up and Neely able to tap it through. Larson able to pat one along. That'll be taken by Janney, but penalty time is up to McSorley. Teams at full strength. Janney flips one that comes on goal and is sent away by Fuhr. The flip comes over to Mark Messier. Messier moves along with Simpson. Play went through Peterson, locks up with Simpson. Along with it is Burridge. Taps one further that Janney tried to bank out, and Bukaboom went charging into him. Back with it, Marquardt drops over to Bork, took a high stick, still works in front, and that one knocked down by Messier. There'll be a penalty coming up, and the Bruins will again have the power play. 11:59 to go in the first. Anderson's goal, the only one.
Mark Messier is out for tripping. You have to say that at a certain point, the Bruins are going to have to score on one of these power plays. There was a save by Fuhrer through a crowd. Ken Linseman picks up the rebound point blank. You see him going for the 5-hole. He was a little high, wasn't he? About 6 inches. The penalty is to Mark Messier coming back. I think it's just on the right of your screen. There was Messier, right, tripping one of the Bruins who was trying to break away at mid-ice. And after that, you know what, Anderson laid a real slash on somebody cutting for the net. I originally thought that that's what Dennis Morel had called, but no, it was to Messier.
Bruins bring in 4 across. You can see them there. Wesley Crowder, Linseman the face-off man, and Sweeney. And it is worked back to the other one. Bork drive, flop to the glass after ducking off of Krushelnyski. Muni tries a weak clearing attempt, and Wesley just puts it back on goal. Bruins have outshot the Oilers so far 7-4, trail in the game 1-0. Muni, and that one went by Wesley, so the Bruins must go all the way. Gretzky and Curry up front, Muni and Lowe in back for the penalty-killing Edmonton Oilers.
This was the last power play by the Bruins. You see they had 3 shots. They were in the zone 38 seconds.
On with it, Crowder. Centers, but that off low, and here comes Gretzky moving out with Curry. Little pass ahead, off the skate of Bork, retrieved by Curry. Bork after to wedge him to the boards, and Ken Linseman, the extra man for the Bruins, will bring it back. 1:10 to go on the power play. Linseman dishes it blindly as the Bruins were in the midst of changing, and now it's Neely giving over to Sweeney. Sweeney to the front, and he just stick-handled too much and had it forced away by Steve Smith. It is at the same end of the ice, the end that you are watching now, that we're starting to see just a little bit of fog. Janney's pass comes across to Larson. Feeds on the wing to Janney. Tries for Neely. Poked back along Kluzak. It is fed to Larson. Drive deflected wide, and Fuhrer was knocked down by a crunch of players. Joyce and Smith colliding in front. Falling down is Janney, and right there to press him is Gregg. Joyce pivoting. Dumps it back off for Janney. He eludes the check of Gregg and feeds to Larson. His shot went to the glass. Flipped off by Fuhrer. Gregg presses Joyce, and the puck wedged up along the rail, and now an exchange behind the goal.
There's Bob Joyce. When are we going to hear from Bob Joyce? And for that matter, the Janney line. Gee, the Bruins rode the crest of this rookie line. Neely's not a rookie, but Joyce and Janney are. And I think for a couple of reasons we haven't heard that much from Bob Joyce in the finals. Number one, the Oilers have done a good job of neutralizing Craig Janney. You neutralize the centerman, you end up with a donut line, no center. And that's what Bob Joyce has been facing. Besides that, the Janney line really doesn't like to dump it in that much. So if Janney is not wheeling and dealing, Joyce doesn't get a chance to really do a lot of his strong board work and forechecking work. Those are his strengths.
Mickey Redmond, your observations.
Boys, I'll tell you, the Bruins seem to be playing a lot more relaxed than we've seen them in the first 3 games. I'm sure Billy and Mike, they just said, hey, we're down 3-0. We have nothing to lose. Let's go out, relax, have some fun, and try to win this hockey game and not be embarrassed by losing 4-0.
You know, I agree with you, Mickey, except there was one time just a second ago when Bob Sweeney moved into the slot. I think the rookies are feeling the pressure. A guy like Bob Sweeney missed a 3-on-2 the other night. Remember, he didn't even get a shot on goal.
That's right.
Sweeney moved into the slot there on a 2-on-1. Really couldn't make up his mind what to do. This is pressure central for rookies now. This is the finals, and the Bruins have 4 rookies on their team.
It is a pass from Bork across to Neely. 5 seconds left on the Bruin power play. Feeds it back over to Joyce. Drops it back to Ray Bork. Wrapped around to Neely. Given a good shoulder by Muni. Lowe had it forced away by Joyce. Still the pressure on. Penalty time is up. With it is Janney. Centered one, but that off Muni. Rebound in front. Neely couldn't connect with Joyce. Joyce shoved to the boards by Lowe. Still trying to fight his way along, and it's tapped off his stick by Curry to Wayne Gretzky. Gretzky moving with Messier. Puck flung into Bork and chopped back. 39 seconds of attack zone possession. Very close to what they had the first time, but this time instead of 3 shots, just 1. Gretzky turns it back across for McSorley. Little pass went off the paddle of Messier. Anderson tries to recover, but it's O'Dwyer jamming back in. 9:20 to go, first period of play. Along with Tom Mees, Mickey Redmond, Bill Clement, Mike Emmerich from Boston Garden, where the Oilers are leading in this game by a count of 1-0. Oh, was Kluzak ever hit by the forechecking of Simpson? Simpson and Kluzak back to pay him back, but didn't get much of him there as Hoggood tries to clear. Anderson flips. Kluzak had trouble controlling. Simpson goes down as the puck is cleared back along. McSorley going back to get it. There'll be no icing here. And drops it right for Rick Middleton. Flips one in front off Acton, and he, with second reflex action, was able to force it himself wide of his own goal. Middleton and Acton battling along the boards again. Bukaboom has a man lean down. And that's enough of congestion to see the puck go out of the sight of Dennis Morrell, though not necessarily out of ours. 8:33 to go. First period of play, 1-0 the Oilers.
It looked as if Craig Simpson got his arms up right here into Kluzak's face. Look at the helmet off of Kluzak. You tell me if Simpson got his arms up and deserved a penalty on this one. Well, elbows met elbows, didn't they? And after that, they collided. Gord Kluzak showed good restraint. Watch Kluzak. He never did get the strap down. He was stuck with it for about 10 seconds right across the bridge of his nose. But Kluzak showed good restraint. He went back at Simpson after that and kept his arms down.
Casper has Burridge on his left, Marquardt on his right. You talked about a donut line. Do you ever play on a helicopter line, Bill, as a centerman with no wings?
It's kind of like a penguin line, we used to call it, or a helicopter line.
Reed Larson is a slot man. Go ahead.
I used to think that was the problem my whole career. I couldn't get anybody to believe it, though.
Acton wedged off by Larson, and to take it is Wesley with 8:25 to go in the first period. The teams are at full strength right now. That was a double banger off two of the officials. Flipped right back in on Andy Moog and steered over to Wesley. Forechecking is Acton as the puck swirled around, and it got another official this time. Puck brought right back on by Casper. Has Marquardt breaking. Just cannot outfight Krushelnyski for the puck. Wesley drops one along, but over two lines to Burridge, and for that reason a halt to play. And again, it's at the end of the ice to our left that we're noticing a little more fog than to the right. Maybe they don't have enough doors open at that end. This arena is 60 years old. Of course, air conditioning hadn't been invented then. It has since, but it has not been installed here. 8 minutes left in the first. There, you can really see it better at ice level.
See John Muckler motioning to, I thought he was talking to Sather at first. Looks now as if he's talking to somebody down at the end of the bench. He gets so much praise from the guys that play for him, people that have ever played for him. John Muckler, the man that is really credited with designing the X's and O's plays, defensively, offensively, tactically. A lot of people think there's no one better in the game than John Muckler.
McTavish able to regain the faceoff and again force Andy Moog to swirl behind his net. It is Bork with a pass that's off the tip of the stick of Joyce. The Joyce, Janney, and Neely line has seen a lot of action tonight, partly because there have been two Bruins power plays. Outlet, one-handed tap comes on to Lacombe up the wing. Courtnall, the drive went just wide.
Wow, that dropped at least 6 inches. It was up in the air, then went right down. Had it been on net, that would have handcuffed Andy Moog.
Ray Bork pestered by former teammate Jeff Courtnall. Now Peterson having trouble, and here's McTavish. Big drive blocked away by Moog. McTavish moving in. Leaned on by Neely. Back it comes. Muni waiting, then fires into the knees of Joyce. Courtnall swings one that Neely takes. Rams into McTavish as he was following through on that pass, and McTavish sat down. The fans love that. On now comes Neely. But we get a stoppage of play on a two-line pass. Well, history should record that we have seen longer than 7 or 8 minutes of Bruins hockey in this game so far. They've been putting the body on pretty well, and they've been attacking well.
Sure have. Neely gets rid of the puck. And there's one of the problems when you come up against Cam Neely. He braced himself, and even though he wasn't trying to hit that time, he was mostly trying to protect. Here's Craig McTavish's shot. Gets it up high on Andy Moog. No screen. No, Ray Bork moved out of the way so Moog could see it. But when Neely hits, he tries to hit through people. That's one of the reasons that he is so effective. He's not only big, strong, and solid, but he's almost like a football hitter. He hits right through you. Just before Neely hit, Ray Bork was tied up with Courtnall, one of his ex-teammates on this Oilers team. There's the hit right there. It's about 2 seconds after that crunch by Bork that Neely met with McTavish behind the net.
Some of you may not be able to appreciate it from a hockey standpoint, but if you ever played basketball and your coach made you do stops and starts, there you had an example of Ray Bork starting, stopping, and then leveling a hit, and then stopping and then starting again. This is Kluzak. Shakes away from the checking of Gretzky, although Gretzky's still a factor. And it is rolled in deep by Kluzak. Delayed offside is wiped as the Bruins clear the zone. Meanwhile, you're watching Esa Tikkanen, who had a hat trick in the last game. Only the 25th player in Stanley Cup history to get a hat trick in the finals. Tikkanen wraps it along to Gregg. Randy Gregg with a look toward Gretzky. The pass, though, is tipped away by Crowder and gathered in by Greg Hawgood. Then to Linseman, but brushed from him by Curry. 6.5 minutes to go in this opening period of play. Glenn Anderson's goal at 10 seconds, the only one so far, as we have a tie-up of Jari Kurri and Andy Moog, seemingly without harm at the Boston goal. In the sauna above the train station, we have a 1-0 game, Edmonton leading.
Jari Kurri is on the chase here. Kenny Linseman is trying to get away from him, and you saw Kurri come all the way back, tip the puck out of the way. Actually, Linseman was coming back into his own end, but he got real tangled up right in front of Mickey Redmond. Mickey?
You know, guys, they talked in the papers today about the Bruins going out of their way to hit. You saw the reaction when Neely hit. This crowd went crazy. They love it, but the reporters in Boston are accusing the Bruins. They're going out of their way to try to be physical because they don't really need to be. Everybody knows they're a tough physical team, but it's hurting them to have to prove it all the time.
Larson with a drive, blocked away by Fuhr. Sweeney shoulders with Smith and goes right back at him. It is Gregg floating one along for Curry. On second effort, was able to get it by Wesley. Larson going back. It's over the end line, and it is touched by him first. So back near Fuhr, it'll come on that icing call. We mentioned the temperature at warm-up time tonight was 78. It has risen to 81 after only about 40 minutes of time has passed on the wristwatch. And now we notice a little fog at the Edmonton defensive end, too, as you see Reed Larson.
You know, I wonder how some of the writers in this city would have approached the Edmonton Oilers if they're saying that the Bruins really don't need to go out of their way to hit the Edmonton Oilers. A lot of tactics have been attempted. None have seemed to work. Part of the Bruins game is hitting. I'm not sure why anybody would say for the Bruins, or at least suggest that the Bruins take hitting out of their game. They thrive on it year after year. They have to hit to win.
O'Dwyer and Messier for the faceoff with 6:01 left in this opening period. In case you're just joining us, the Oilers lead 1-0. Shot went into McSorley, tipped by Anderson along to Craig Simpson. Simpson watched by Peterson. Nice play on defense by Alan Peterson. Simpson trying to fight his way through. Centering pass was off Anderson. O'Dwyer locked up with Messier. There'll be a penalty coming up. It'll be against Boston. Delayed call. Anderson flips, and it's collared by Bork, and we'll get the halt to the action. Edmonton's power play gets a chance to heat up with the Oilers in the lead. Alan Peterson, who had made the initial strong play on Craig Simpson, is called for holding. 14:22, the time of the period. And the Oilers have out some of the best guys at doing this in the world right now. Jari Kurri left point. You saw Gretzky and Messier close up. Glenn Henderson on the left, and on the right point it'll be Steve Smith as we review this penalty. Simpson being held to the boards by Peterson there, and it was when Simpson tried to fight away that he went down.
You see, you might have noticed that Peterson actually had Simpson's stick in his grasp. I think that's one of the reasons that Simpson couldn't get his shoulder around, lost his balance, but it doesn't really matter. Peterson has to wait a very, very long 2 minutes. Hopefully at 2 minutes, because if it isn't, that will mean the Oilers have scored.
Messier from the face-off got it surprisingly to Gretzky. How did it get through that kind of traffic? Gretzky flips in front, and it went across the goal mouth, and there'll be a penalty coming up. Dennis Morrell will take off a Bruin. And the fans are steamed on this one.
It's the guy the Bruins can't do without, too. Ray Bork. He tripped Glenn Anderson. Anderson was moving in front to take a quick pass. We'll take it right from the face-off. Casper trying to get the puck back. There is Bork on Anderson. Now watch, they will move towards the net. Wow, what a battle even before Anderson tries to go to the net.
Oh, it's a roughing call.
Those are the penalties that people get away with during the regular season. Those are the penalties that hockey players have not gotten away with since the officials decided they were going to call it differently in the playoffs. And we've seen it hurt too many teams, haven't we? The two men off at one time, too often in the playoffs.
And it has hurt the Bruins terribly in this series. You see how well the Oilers have done in these situations. Against Boston in this series, they are 2 for 3. And they've got a long one here. It was only 8 seconds after the first penalty that the second was called.
Well, Kluzak is out there, and so is Reed Larson. They just had a little powwow with Steve Kasper, so we'll see what kind of setup they use. It's going to have to be a excellent setup with a lot of hoping. Mickey Redmond?
5 forwards that Glenn Sather is going with. He's going for the kill right here. What the fans and the Bruins are so upset about, they had 2 5-on-3s against them out in Edmonton in the first 2 games, both together in the same game, and they're very upset that those penalties are being called by the officials when they're not really blatant.
Curry works on to Tikkanen. That one bounced and paddled away by Moog. Cleared by Kluzak, but kept by Gretzky. Gretzky shovels over. One-timer by Curry. Oh, that was a tough one for Moog, and he was able to block it away. Flipped along for Messier. Leaned on by Larson. Turns it to Anderson, then back to Curry. Messier right to the front of the goal. Now it's handed to Gretzky. Curry once more to Gretzky. Curry. Save! Tried to go through the 6-hole, and that has never worked. Right through that crest.
That's probably the worst place he could have shot it. Andy Moog was able to smother it right in his chest, and Glenn Anderson was standing right to Andy Moog's right for the rebound. You can tell the Oilers aren't trying to get 2 goals here. All they want is 1. They're taking their time. That's the first knuckler that gave Andy Moog a bit of trouble. And then it came back to Jari Kurri again. That was the one that Moog was able to smother. You can see Anderson on the right, Kluzak on the left. And you know, from that spot where Jari Kurri shoots, Mike, they really don't want a screen in front of him. Kurri, if he hits the open spot with his gun, can score for there. So what Anderson was doing, I think, was correct. Staying off the net a little bit for a rebound, because if Anderson stands in front of Moog, his life is in danger. Kurri can really let her rip.
This time he passes over to Gretzky. Then Curry fires. Stick save, Moog. Rebound chopped. Sent away by Lynchman, but not out. Gretzky can hold. Deals it this time to Tikkanen. Quickly back to Gretzky again. Tikkanen hammers one. Score! First man out of the box. And still 58 seconds of a 5-on-4.
Well, the Bruins decided to play a passive triangle. They didn't force the Oilers at all, and when you're playing against the Oilers, and as Mickey mentioned, they used 5 forwards. 5 of the best in the game. You have to play kind of a contained box. Hope that Andy Moog is able to stop them completely. He got that one. Messier missed it. But the Oilers maintained possession. Comes back to Gretzky. See when Lynchman went right out to him, it opened it up. Tikkanen to Gretzky. And now back to Tikkanen. And do they love those one-time shots? Tikkanen from that side and Jari Kurri from the other side. You just have to pray a lot when you end up 2 men down against the Oilers, and that has been the problem the Bruins have had. They haven't been able to survive them in this series.
Tikkanen with 4 goals in his last 5 shots over the games here at Boston Garden. Still some time in which to work for the Oilers. 45 seconds to go. They're up 2-0. Gretzky. Big drive. Knocked down by Moog. Larson able to clear, but it's kept moving, and the Oilers have it alive with Gretzky. Boy, really notice the fog now. Curry, then to Gretzky. Hands back to Smith. Fires one. Deflected. Oh, and he got a piece of that, and it was fed away by Larson. Poked back around to Gretzky. Tries to finesse one, but it came to Kasper, who can lift it back.
What a save Moog made on Messier on that deflection. He was down with his leg, perfectly placed, hit him right near the toe.
Jari Kurri ahead with 8 seconds to go, forced back by O'Dwyer. Here is Curry moving on Kluzak. Shovels it to Acton, poked away by Middleton. Acton trying to fight one in front, but it is Kluzak headmanning on up to O'Dwyer. Has Middleton and Sweeney with him. The give is to Sweeney. Hurried one to the front, turned away by McClellan. O'Dwyer gives it up to low, hammered by Sweeney. Puck comes back to Kluzak. Kluzak chops one off McClellan. Sweeney trying to center, off Middleton and Curry. Weakly cleared, so it is sent for Hogwood, who fires. He scores! Talk about timing for your first one. 2-1 in favor of Edmonton.
Huge goal. I got into trouble. The Bruins got back to full strength, and the Oilers got caught out there with Jari Kurri on defense. 4 forwards and 1 defenseman. They got mixed up in their signals, and that allowed Hoggood to walk right into the slot, and did he blast it up high? This kid must learn quick. They probably said when you get in tight. You see him take a look there, though, before he shot? Beautiful shot. But the problem was that the Edmonton Oilers ended up out there 1 defenseman short, and they really didn't know how to react. They were terribly out of position because of it.
Tiikkanen's goal, by the way, came on only 1 assist, that by Wayne Gretzky. Rick Middleton on that rather lame clear by the Oilers was able to set it up, and Bob Sweeney also had an assist. Mickey Redmond, how do you see all this developing?
I'll tell you, I can't see the puck at the other end of the ice because the Bruins hadn't been down in the Oilers' zone for about 3-4 minutes. But I'll tell you, this kid Hoggood, what a shot he does have. 123 points last year in Kamloops Jr. He is from Edmonton, Alberta.
Courtnall tries to step ahead, and it is Bourque laying it back. Courtnall checks with Bourque. Ahead with it is Joyce. Big drive. Grabbed by Pure, and he'll hang on. All right, Ken Lintzman will step in for a face-off with Messier here at steamy Boston Garden. 2:32 left in the first. The Oilers scored the first 2, Anderson and Tiikkanen. And Greg Hoggood has answered with his first Stanley Cup goal for the Boston Bruins. Steve Smith flips one along, off Simpson, tipped by Bourque. Crowder couldn't make a play further because of Randy Gregg. Kluzak lifts, and Gregg will go back to take it unmolested. Bruins had to clear the zone, and now Lintzman moving in as a forechecker. Lintzman, LeMay, and Keith Crowder. The line out now for Boston. Messier flips, and Ray Bourque will stride back. Anderson right on him. Puck turned along him. Man, was Crowder hit by Simpson, who has had 2 of the thundering hits of the night. And now some jostling between Messier and Kluzak. Bourque and Anderson eye-to-eye.
Check the clock. It's getting deeper and deeper. There's a mist that's about head height now all the way around. Try and look at the other end of the ice through the crowd. Well, Glenn Anderson and Ray Bourque have had it going ever since we ISO'd on them. Just before Ray Bourque took that second penalty that put them down 2 men. So they have been at it all night. There's Simpson just cruising into the corner and making great contact. Messier goes in as a second man, forechecking, trying to dig the puck out. Here comes Gord Kluzak. Ta-da! Boom.
Just have to pretend if you're a goaltender right now what it must be like. Now this angle here doesn't give you the full impact of how foggy it is. It's down at ice level that you can really tell. But that didn't bother Moog on this one. That becomes the 13th Edmonton Oilers shot of the game. The Bruins have 10. 2-1 the score in favor of Edmonton. Gregg checked by Burridge. In comes Marquardt, shoves them both. Jammed along by Messier, and getting it is Steve Smith. Burridge right after him. Smith puts one right out in front, and you can see the Oilers starting to react to the Bruin forechecking, trying to get rid of it quickly and failing in doing so. Let's go to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike Emmerich, reminder to stay with us between the first and second periods. We'll have lots for you, including an interview with Mario Lemieux of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who picked up some more postseason hardware yesterday at the NHL Awards banquet. We'll also be taking a look at the top candidates for the NHL's Calder Trophy for the Rookie of the Year. We'll have highlights of the first period of play, and also Bill Clement will take us through another hockey lesson with a telestrator. That's coming up in our first intermission. Now let's go back to Mike and Bill. 2-1 Edmonton.
Temperature here, 81 degrees. We just looked down and noticed Mickey Redmond was fanning himself. Most of the fans here have gotten down to just T-shirts or dress shirts, blouses. It is very hot inside. Last temperature check that we have right in front of us here, 81 degrees. It was 78 at the start of this period. Krushelnyski and O'Dwyer in front of Grant Fuhr for the draw. Middleton worked on by Gregg. Puck flipped off Wesley, overskated by Curry. Larson missed for O'Dwyer, got Gregg, who missed for Curry. This will be icing as Wesley is back.
Jari Kurri has, at least in my mind, established himself so much as a two-way player this year. Now, maybe he hasn't changed a thing, Bill. Maybe I'm just paying more attention to him.
Probably because he failed to score 50 goals for the first time in 5 years. And a lot of people in Edmonton said, boy, Jari Kurri really had an off year. 43. And perhaps that's why some people are starting to focus a little more on his defensive play. But you got to ask the guys that play against him. They will tell you that while he doesn't always play a physical game, he realizes he has to make contact and just try and get a step on him when you're heading up ice. See how fast he back checks.
Terry O'Reilly watches this face-off. Puck back to Wesley, but into Muni. Help came from Kurri to spin it along to Gretzky. That one off Larson. Gloved along by Wesley. Carried further now by Joyce. Janney is the trailer, and Joyce just boomed to the wall by Muni, but still keeps it to Janney, who loses. Muni forces Wesley to turn, moving back with Reed Larson on defense.
You could see how effective Joyce was if they're able to penetrate the zone. He got by Muni. He took the hit. That's the territory that the Oilers have owned in this series. Their own end, along the boards and in the corners. The Bruins have never established themselves there.
Neely. Taken down by Tikkanen, and there'll be a penalty coming up with only 35 seconds left in the period to Esa Tikkanen. He's been a feisty performer, and it's cost him. He's had a lot of minors in this series at crucial times. This will be the 6th minor that he's been called for. He had 3 of them in one night, plus one he served on the bench minor.
You know, only Steve Smith and Marty McSorley. There it is. A little bit of a leg lock around Cam Neely. Nicky Redmond.
You know what, Billy? Actually, it was an offensive hit to start out by Cam Neely. He drilled Tikkanen. Morrell did not see that. Tikkanen was down and, of course, wrapped his legs around Neely, and he tried to charge for the corner. He got cut for retaliation, but Cam Neely does what he does so well, and that's deliver that offensive hit.
Mickey, you're right there where the goaltender is. Can you see that puck coming in there on shots very well?
It was foggy just a moment ago. The fog is changing positions with, of course, the territorial play. 10 big guys out there. They bring the fog with them to either end, and then they'll clear it at another end, and back will go the other way.
Interesting. Here comes Messier for the shorthanded Oilers. Messier deals it over for Krushelnyski. Flips one against the back of the goal. 20 seconds to play in the first period. Bruins trailing by 1. Kluzak on. Angles for the Linzman corner. He moved in first, but it was Grant Fuhr just grabbing it.
Well, the Oilers have done an outstanding job of containing number 77, Raymond Bourque, the man that led this Boston Bruin team in scoring during the regular season. He finished 2nd in the National Hockey League in shots on goal with an average of 4.4. First 3 rounds, he dropped a little, and you have to think fatigue. Look at this, 1.7 shots. Only 3 players in the NHL finished with over 300 shots. Mario Lemieux had 382, Bourque had 344, and Mike Gardner of the Washington Capitals had 318. If he doesn't get up on the play, he doesn't get his shots. At the end of games, he has been dead. Tonight, I look to Ray Bourque to have some legs at the end. Terry O'Reilly is finally working in 6 defensemen tonight. Hoggood and Larson have both played.
Neely! Oh, and that one blocked away. Grant Fuhr with a big reaction there, and just 7 seconds left. Bourque fires one, blocked down by Fuhr. Stoppage of play, and Dennis Morrell signals a face-off. And I'm not certain if he lost sight of that, thinking that maybe Fuhr had it or what.
Boy, Fuhr was so far out of the net, he has to look peripherally to see who's around him, because that time he was out further than he usually is. There's got to be a good 6 feet between Grant Fuhr and that goal line, or at least the crease line, the round crease line behind him. A little bit of fog. Andy Moog is on the bench. That's something that's interesting. 4 seconds is enough time to get possession and score a goal down at the end. Terry O'Reilly pulling out all the stops. He's going with 6 attackers with 4 seconds left.
Remember, the Oilers are already shorthanded by 1. Right now by 2. Linzman and Messier for a big face-off. Big tie-up. Linzman to Bourque. Quick shot. That one went off Janney. Another shot at the siren by Linzman is sealed by Grant Fuhr.
You know something? Mark Messier won that face-off. If you win it quickly enough, sometimes the linesmen don't have a chance to get out of the way. Messier won the draw. It got caught in Swede-Knox skate. That's why the Bruins ended up with a chance right there.
14 shots for the Oilers in the first period. 11 shots for the Boston Bruins. And the fans here standing as their Bruins head off to the locker room. Let's go downstairs in that same general vicinity to Tom Mees.
Thank you very much, Mike Emmerich. Recapping the goal scorers for you. Mark Messier just 10 seconds into the game. Then Esa Tikkanen scored for the Edmonton Oilers. That made it 2-0. Then Greg Hawgood scored what really looks like a big goal now for the Boston Bruins. Remember, the Boston Bruins will have a power play for another minute and 25, the first minute 25 of the second period, barring any other penalties against the Bruins. But after one from the Garden, it is the Edmonton Oilers 2 and the Boston Bruins 1. Will Hawgood's goal help the Bruins come out for the second period and take the lead? We'll find out in a few moments. The Dodge Performer of the Year award goes to guess who? That's right, Mario Lemieux, the brilliant all-star center of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Not only did Lemieux check in with that 70-goal season for the Penguins, but he also checked in with the most valuable player performance in the 39th annual NHL All-Star Game this past February in St. Louis. Mario Lemieux, when he's on the ice, you can never let the puck out of your sight because it'll be in the net. Mario Lemieux, the Pittsburgh Penguins, garners yet another award as the Dodge Performer of the Year in the National Hockey League. For the past 4 seasons, the people with Dodge trucks and the Dodge division of Chrysler Motors have been honoring individual performances in the National Hockey League with several awards. You've heard of the Dodge Performer of the Week Award, Performer of the Month, and this year, of course, the Performer and Performance of the Year. And both those newer awards are awarded to Mario Lemieux of the Pittsburgh Penguins this year, and we'll find out why right now from Arthur C. Kestelut. He's the National Merchandising Manager of the Dodge Division of Chrysler Motors. And Arthur, it's your turn right now to take over the microphone and make a very special presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. For the past several years, Dodge has been deeply involved in both amateur hockey and also the National Hockey League. This past season was some very stiff competition from the likes of Wayne Gretzky, Grant Fuhrer, the phenomenal finish of New Jersey. We'd like to congratulate you on winning both the Dodge Performance of the Year and the Dodge Performer of the Year awards. 70 points, 168 points, 42 points alone in the month of March. You had a phenomenal season. We congratulate you, and we'd like to present you with a check for $12,500, which you have donated generously to the Pittsburgh Amateur Hockey Association.
Thank you very much. I just want to say that I'm very proud to win those 2 awards, especially this year with the competition that we had in around the league, the Gretzkys, the Messiers, and all these great hockey players. It's certainly a big thrill for me to win these 2 awards. I'd like to thank Dodge for their donation. I'm sure that the people in Pittsburgh are going to appreciate that very much. I know that the youth hockey certainly going to appreciate that very much, and thanks for everything.
Terrific.
Okay, thank you, Arthur, for being with us. Thank you, Mario. 70 goals, 168 points. Next year, we're going to see those points, goals, and your Penguin teammates, I'm sure, in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Well, that's it for this presentation right now. The Mario Lemieux, a very much deserved one. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy more hockey action as ESPN's Road to the Cup continues tonight from the Boston Garden. After one period here at the Boston Garden, it's Edmonton 2 and Boston 1. Correcting myself on the Edmonton goal scorers, it was Glenn Anderson scoring 10 seconds into the game. Esa Tikkanen added the other one, and rookie Greg Hawgood as the marker for the Boston Bruins. Well, this year in the National Hockey League, some of the best play from beginning to end in the regular season that this reporter has seen in many, many years. And, of course, a lot of that great play came from some great rookies in the NHL. Who's going to win the Calder Trophy, emblematic of the Rookie of the Year in the National Hockey League? Well, let's take a look at some of the top candidates that we here at ESPN feel have a shot. The Calder Trophy is awarded every season to the NHL's outstanding rookie, and really, the odds-on choice at the top of the ballot is Joe Nieuwendyk of the Calgary Flames. He's only the second rookie in NHL history to score 50 goals. Also paced the freshman in assists, points, power play goals, and game winners. He's almost a lock. But if Nieuwendyk doesn't get the nomination, what about Darren Pang, the little goaltender from Chicago? He led all rookie goalies with 17 victories. He also had a solid .891 save percentage. And Brett Hull, son of Bobby Hull of Chicago, split this season between Calgary and St. Louis. Brett Hull ranked 3rd in rookie goals and point scoring, was 2nd in rookie shots on goal. Then there's Ray Shepard of the Buffalo Sabres. Again, he may be a victim of playing in a small media market. He was the 2nd in rookie goal scoring and point scoring with 38 and 65 respectively. Also was number 2 in power play goals with 15. Let's not overlook the dark horse candidate, Ulf Dahlen of the New York Rangers. 4th in rookie goals and points this season. Very strong on his skates. He had 11 power play goals to boot. And what about Rob Brown of the Pittsburgh Penguins, playing in the shadow of Mario Lemieux in the Steel City? Brown scoring 24 goals, had 44 points, but he only played in 51 games. Outstanding. He was second in the entire NHL in shooting percentage at 30%. There are your candidates vying for the NHL's Calder Trophy for Rookie of the Year. Don't look now, friends, but rookie Joe Nieuwendyk of the Calgary Flames has all the delegates he needs. He should win the Calder Trophy in a walk. Coming up next, we'll take a look at the Bud Light scoreboard as we continue down the road to the Cup on ESPN. Game 4 coming your way from the Boston Garden. As we look at the Bud Light scoreboard, you see the Oilers lead it 2-1. Of course, Edmonton winning tonight, and they'll win their 4th Stanley Cup in the past 5 years. Let's take a quick look at the highlights now. In case you tuned in late, let's see how it got to be 2-1. First goal of the game, just 10 seconds in. Here goes Glenn Anderson off the opening faceoff. Splits the Boston defense, puts a backhander by Andy Moog. It was 1-0 Edmonton just like that. Just a few minutes later, though, Reed Larson lets go a blast from the center ice area, just actually on the blue line. Lets it go. It goes in, but there was one problem. The Bruins are offside, so you wipe that goal out. Now, on the two-man power play, it's like giving the Edmonton Oilers a goal, isn't it? Gretzky over to Tikkanen, who one-times it. Moog gets a piece of it, but can't stop it all. Goes into the net, 2-0 Edmonton. But rookie Greg Hallgood gave the Bruins a big lift as he cruises down the slot. Wide open. Grant Fuhr is obstructed in front. He goes down to his knees. The puck goes over his right shoulder. And it is Edmonton 2 and Boston 1. That's the score after 1.
Just about set to go with the second period here in Boston, but before we do that, we're going to do a little telestrating and show you one of the Bruins' power plays. The puck is over here with this man, but you can see he is facing an Oiler. It's another one-on-one situation there. The Oilers are defending well. Everybody is covered, so Craig Janney makes the good play. He dumps it cross corner in front of Grant Fuhr, but watch what Fuhr does when the puck goes by him. All right, stop it right there, and we can see that Grant Fuhr has deflected it into the corner, so Kevin Lowe has to change his direction. It'll be a fight with Cam Neely to see who gets it in the corner. Watch the job Kevin Lowe does against one of the big hitters in the NHL. Boom. And he gets possession. If we can stop it right there, you can see that this Bruin right here is overcommitted. He has gone all the way by. But here's the key. Partners are partners. And Craig Muni is moving in here to lay a pick on Cam Neely. He sets Kevin Lowe free. Stop it right there, and you can see that Janney has gotten in between Lowe and Messier. Lowe will try the pass anyway. Watch Janney cut it and get a decent scoring chance. To Joyce, another save that Fuhr was forced to make. So that's been the story for the Bruins. They haven't been able to get those ones in close, and the Oilers have been there every time with Grant Fuhr, Mike Emmerich.
You know, it looked to us, Bill, like Lowe had plenty of room to shoot it down the ice.
Well, I think what he should have done is go around the boards with it. Don't try and put it up the middle of the ice from back there. Go around the boards. That's the safe play. He has Messier over there anyway.
Now the Bruins start the second period on the power play. They've got about 1 minute and 15 seconds with which to work. And if they score on this, it'll tie the game. They're trailing by a count of 2-1. Cam Neely tried to center, denied by Lowe. Joyce put it right back into the pile, and it is Janney having it knocked away by Lowe. Second effort by Lowe, kicking it along, and stepping free with it is Janney. Gives it back to Ray Bourque. Bourque then over to Janney. Drive, and that cut off in front as two Bruins were at the side of the net hoping to take that pass. Gretzky finessed for Messier, but it's turned back over, and Randy Gregg cannot play. We get a stoppage of play. And it may be too many men on the ice. We're seeing Kevin Collins with a signal of some kind, and that's going to be it. As you see the scoring in the first period, Anderson and Tikkanen for Edmonton, and Greg Hallgood with his first ever NHL goal and in the Stanley Cup Finals. Nicky Redmond, how do you see things?
I tell you, Mike, Randy Gregg, played that very smart. He backed off. He knew that there was a line change going on. Did not play the puck purposely, but they made the call anyway. You know, the unwritten rule is 10 to 15 feet. As long as nobody gets involved with the play, normally they let that play go without calling too many men in the ice. But Kevin Collins, now arguing with Mark Messier, made the call.
Well, that's a good point, Mickey. We have brought up the point that in a line change, if the players are 6, 10, 15 feet passing one another, if one of them plays the puck intentionally, it is a penalty. Count those Bruins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Absolutely right.
Gee.
I gather the Oilers aren't aware of that. I think the argument, as best we can perceive from here, and we're as close as you can be to the Edmonton bench, is about the call on the Oilers. But there were 6 Bruins there. First time in the series, the Bruins will have a 5-on-3. Overall in the playoffs, they're 2 for 9 on 5-on-3s. Oilers have been called for too many men on the ice 3 times in this series. The Bruins twice. And they've got half a minute to go in the 5-on-3. Ray Bourque tried for Lynchman, but it's wheeled away by Smith.
What a play. What a low percentage play that he executed. A spin around, trying to grab the puck on his forehand from behind, and he did it perfectly.
Play broken down. Too much traffic, and Larson has to see it work back further. Ray Bourque will go back. Messier right on his tail. 8 seconds left in the 5-on-3. Then there'll be a minute 20 of a 5-on-4. Janney's pass, laid ahead by Larson for Bourque. Poked it through Smith, but Gregg came across, spun one that's taken by Bourque. Bourque feeds for Crowder, and just arriving from the penalty box and making a beautiful play to cut it off was Tikkanen. Now it's a 5-on-4 power play for the Bruins as Janney wedged off by Lowe. His defense partner is there, and that's Muni. Wraps it along to Jari Kurri. Plenty of ice, and he clears. Ray Bourque turning it over to Wesley. Bruins are trailing by 1, and you can tell that the fans really want to see something here. They've been sort of critical of this Bruins power play we just sent from their reaction. Now it's out to Neely. Wrist shot blocked down by Lowe. Good penalty killing thus far by the Oilers. Neely able to keep. Right along to Sweeney. Hit hard by Kevin Lowe. Neely forced it through for Janney. Has Wesley breaking. Gives over to Sweeney. Couldn't get it in front because of Lowe. Sweeney tries for Neely, and that wouldn't go. Wesley tries to keep it in, but Gretzky taps ahead to Jari Kurri. Kurri working on Hawgood. Slithered one right in on goal, and so the Bruins now with 20 seconds to go in their power play. Glenn Wesley. Dogged by Krushelnyski. Hands to Hawgood. And he jammed it into Grant Fuhr. 5 seconds of power play time to go. Smith clears off Casper and down. And the Oilers have done it. 2-1 Edmonton leading, 17-10 to go in this second period of play. Larson tips, Casper around to get it, but it is forced back in by Keith Acton. Kluzak checked by Krushelnyski. McClellan moves right in. Krushelnyski at the front. Rips it out in front. Did McClellan, but it is held by Moog. 2-1, the Oilers lead.
Go to the Cup on ESPN. Tonight, coming away from Boston Garden is brought to you by the 1988 German-engineered Volkswagens and your Volkswagen dealers. By Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Allstate. For home, auto, and life insurance, you're in good hands with Allstate. It is still Edmonton 2, Boston 1. Let's get back to action and rejoin Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement.
Kluzak punches it away from Jari Kurri. Back it comes for Wayne Gretzky. Couldn't feed for Kurri, although he steps behind and is wrapped by Casper. Big Gordon Kluzak to play on the Bruin defense. Marquardt locked up there with McSorley, so coming by to poke it along is Bukaboom. Peterson couldn't control, and now Marquardt taps it back in. Casper took the hit, poked it for Marquardt. Man, what a collision with Bukaboom. Still they work. Burridge trying to get away from McSorley. Casper feeds it back to Bourque. Shot knocked away, and sprawling on top of Fuhr with Burridge. Marquardt lays it back around. We start to notice the fog again. Marquardt kicked the puck and a helmet. Kurri able to feed it back along. Taking this is Ray Bourque. Jams it up the boards for O'Dwyer. McTavish couldn't control. Moving on is O'Dwyer, and a diving play made there by Muni. Kurri, but one skipped over McTavish. Peterson taps. But he has to play again, sliding it over to Bourque. 15:45 to go in the second period. Puck lost to the Oilers, and it's Courtnall. Wrist shot, blocked away. And getting his waffleboard on it was Moog. Now it is Bourque, chipping one back ahead. O'Dwyer starts in with Middleton. Scurrying to get back to make it a 2-on-2. Diving is Courtnall. Shot went across the goal mouth. Fly. Incredible, as it seemed that Fuhr got a piece of it. Now Middleton in. Bangs Comes into Kevin Lowe. Bork trying to fight it along. Lowe there, lost it to Middleton. Swings one to the slot, but Lacombe is there. Tripped up on the play by LeMay. There'll be a penalty coming up to the Bruins. The delayed call. And Grant Fuhr skates by. We get a stoppage of play with 15:14 to go in the second period. 2-1 Edmonton.
Pretty close call for Grant Fuhr just before we left you. I like the play Billy O'Dwyer makes. He knew that Middleton is on his backhand. Now, was that going in? It hooked onto Kevin Lowe's left blade. But O'Dwyer is going in on the right side. Middleton's going in on the left side, so they're both on their backhand. And here's the trip that sent Mo LeMay off right there on Norm Lacombe. So the Oilers will get a chance on the power play here, but good play by O'Dwyer at the other end, going for it, thinking drive for the net on that 2-on-1 situation. If he tries a pass, well, he's got to thread it perfectly on his backhand to a guy that's also on his backhand.
Bruins are going to bring out Kasper and Burridge to work with Kluzak and Peterson in the penalty killing.
Well, there's the over story again for the Bruins. Only 4 shots on goal in 7 minutes. They did not have one shot on Grant Fuhr during that 5-on-3.
1 for 18 overall in the series. Messier with Gretzky trailing well out of your picture now as sort of a lonesome end. And Anderson. Smith and Yari Curry will be the men at the points. Curry sets it up by moving by Kasper. Then up for Messier, who taps. Moog sets it up for Peterson, driven off, but right to Gretzky. Gretzky swoops. Forehand shot off the skate of Peterson. Seems to be hurt by it.
He is. He was hurt by a slash by Glenn Anderson.
On now comes Kluzak. Feeds one in front, but's guided away by Fuhr. Burridge checked off by Curry. It was strange. I thought I saw it hit him right in the skate, and you wouldn't think that anything like that would bother, but I'm glad you noticed the slash. On with this is Messier, but gave it right up to Burridge for the clear back down. As in games 1 and 2, and in part of 3, the Bruins have kept this one close. They trail by 1, 14:23 to go in the second period. They still have 1 minute and 5 seconds of power play time to kill off, and that missed pass will help them a little. Oilers making a change. They have Anderson, Gregg, and it's lost by Smith over to Middleton, and the shot blocked away by Grant Fuhr. Anderson starts back out, crowd buzzing as in comes Tekin and hands over to Gretzky. Gretzky crossing. Pivots away, has Kevin Lowe to pass to, but is bothered by Wesley. Loses to Wesley. Moving out with Linseman. Lowe back on a 2-on-1. Wesley, save, rebound.
The great one is going to be angry at himself for this. He tries a fancy move at the absolute wrong time. Away come the Bruins on a 2-on-1. Wesley gotta like what he's thinking. He tees it up for the shot. I don't know, I preach that all year. Think shoot first on the 2-on-1. He looked at Linseman though. He snuck a peek to see if he could get it to Linseman, and look at the fog. He snuck a peek at Linseman, decided that it was a low percentage play to try and get it over to him. He shoots, gets his own rebound. Grant Fuhr is not superhuman. And look at the reaction from Glenn Wesley.
It is kid night here at Boston Garden, Mickey Redmond. Another youngster has scored.
Guys, a couple of things. Number one, right now, both teams have been ordered onto the ice. Pretty well all the players on both teams, except for a few, to try to get this fog separated and moving around a little bit. It's gotten very, very heavy, about 4 feet above the ice. You cannot see the far end from where I'm at. But, Bill, I think the thing that I wanted to bring up was you're talking about shooting the puck. The first 3 games, the Boston Bruins were trying to pass the puck all the time, trying to get it across, and the big Edmonton defensemen have been taking that away. Right there, it pays off when he took the shot. Right now, guys, it's 85 degrees down here.
At the start of the game, it was 78. At the end of the first period, it was 81. It is going up, up, up.
You know, you bring up a good point, Mickey. The Bruins were fighting it so much. Sweeney tonight has missed a couple of chances, and they missed a couple of 3-on-2s the other night. When I say missed, didn't even get a shot on goal.
Right.
I really like Wesley's selection there of shooting. Every shot is a potential goal, and you can see what happens with the rebounds. Grant Fuhr leaves rebounds when he leaves his feet. And this is the man that really coughed it up in the offensive zone. Let's see how Gretzky reacts to having been put in the negative spotlight.
Burridge taps, and back to get it Smith. Keep in mind, this is still an Edmonton power play. 25 seconds to go. 13:35 remaining in the second period of a 2-2 tie. Randy Burridge steps ahead. Forces the Oilers back once more. 19-year-old Glenn Wesley and 20-year-old Greg Hawgood have gotten the two Bruins goals after Boston went down 2-0. Here is Messier trying to get by Bork. Couldn't shovel one in front. Simpson trying to get to it. Penalty time is up to the Bruins, and sprawling on the puck is Bork, and now Kluzak and Messier, and everyone seems to be moving along. The two-point men remain out for the Oilers so that they can still keep that face-off near Mode.
You know, that's the second time that Kluzak has come in to push Messier when his feet have been kind of tied up with people underneath him. Well, Messier took one push and then reacted with everything he had, with a swing around with his stick and his hands up high.
Peace restored. Game tied. Janney and Keith Acton for the face-off, and the puck comes to Joyce. Moving out with Ray Bork. Rolls it along, tries to get by Lowe and does. Bork at the front, backhander turned away by Krushelnyski. And it is Lowe playing it through the swirling fog for Edmonton. Then to McClellan and right back for Kevin Lowe. Moog there, swings it right back to Neely. Lowe eyeing him up. Neely forces one through on Grant Fuhr. Shots are 5 for the Bruins, 2 for the Oilers in this period. Larson with a shot. Oh, and a good one. Turned away by Fuhr. Janney pokes one along, hoping for Joyce. Goes in to work for it. Locked up by Muni. Lowe poked one further. Is holding the stick of Neely, and that'll cost. Delayed penalty call. And we get the stoppage of play. 12:26 to go in the second period. The Bruins with a chance to break the tie. You don't need to hold the man. You can hold the stick, too.
You know, that's one of the few shots we've had of the cast that Kevin Lowe has on his hand. His 8th cast since his original went on. That's how many times it's been broken or softened. But it's for holding a stick that he gets called here. See him holding Neely's stick? It's not holding the man. Lowe has the lumber, and he just won't let it go.
I don't know how much of this sound gets through the various microphones we have in this building and home to you. It is deafening. Wesley is shot. He scores!
Key face-off on our super slow-mo camera. Kenny Linsman strips Mark Messier of it. And look at Wesley move off the boards a little bit to give himself an angle on Grant Fuhr. Watch where this puck goes in the net. A little bit off of Grant Fuhr, but it was high enough that Fuhr couldn't get it down low. There's a crucial space on Grant Fuhr. When he goes down, he gives a little bit, about a foot off the ice. That's exactly where Wesley put it.
Linsman wins it to Hawgood, then over to Kluzak. Through Crowder, LeMay giving chase, and Grant Fuhr out. Notice the fog. Kluzak trying to keep it along, but it is picked up by Keith Acton. Acton threw it through the legs of Kluzak, and it is Moog out for the Bruins. Has trouble, though, and has to move back to the goal, but it kicked, fortunately for the Bruins, to Hawgood. Under 12 minutes to play, second period. Boston has come from a 2-0 deficit to score one late in the first and 2 here in the second. What a hit by Bukaboom on Mo LeMay. LeMay sees this one come right to him. Leaned on by McSorley. Crowder steps behind. Flips one that comes back to Peterson. Shovel shot. Stick save made by Fuhr. Krushelnyski starts back up ice. Bruins fans upset, thinking there were fouls in front of the net. As McClellan's toss misses for McSorley and gets Peterson. Tapped along to Billy O'Dwyer. And And this one bumped over to Lowe, who just flings it out of play off the Bruins bench. And Dennis Morrell has signaled for the players to come out again and skate around the ice. You're seeing this from the same vantage point as Mickey Redmond.
See that the big hit right there, Mike, by Bukaboom. He has lost his helmet twice by Bruin forwards getting their sticks up and really hammering him. Now Bukaboom's 6'4" and bigger than most guys in the National Hockey League. A couple of shorter Bruin forwards have really nailed him, and he finally got upset and he really cranked LeMay over to the right of Grant Fuhr. But he is a big boy and has a very short temper besides. But the Bruins, Billy, finally are hitting offensively. They're dumping the puck in, and I think the most important thing, they're shooting the puck at Grant Fuhr, and it's going in.
Yeah, this is absolutely as much spark as we have seen from the Bruins in 4 games. I agree. And, you know, Jeff Bukaboom with his helmet, Mickey, he might get mad enough to tighten that chin strap of his. He has it very loose, and that's one of the reasons that he keeps getting it knocked off. Here's another look at Wesley's second goal of the game. All 3 Bruins goals coming from rookie defensemen, and you can see that Grant Fuhr was out at the top of his crease but couldn't get to it. And at this point, you know what I find amusing? The fact that we put Mickey Redmond down by the ice so he would have a good vantage point to see everything. Here's what Mickey's seeing right now.
It's pretty blocked off right here. I'll tell you, before the players came out, I could not see the far blue line. And the fog, you know, the other night there was about a 4-foot fog, but it was not very thick. You could really see through it. But tonight, with the extra heat in this building, it's very humid in Boston today. It's a real thick, soupy fog, and you can lose sight of it. And I would think you'd start to see some longer shots by both teams, because the goaltenders are going to have trouble.
Jari Kurri brings it along. Pivots away from Kluzak. Threw one in front that was off the skate of Bork and scooped up by Sweeney. Ray Bork with a pass on to Middleton, and right on him to shove him to the boards was Kevin Lowe. Muni across to Kurri. Through Lowe, but to Tikkanen, and then to Muni. Muni just dishes it off to Tikkanen. Now, the Oilers did more dumping and chasing than usual here in Game 3, but that was because this was Boston Garden, and that's what they do right now. Kluzak with a wedge over to Sweeney. Hands to Kluzak. Broken down at the Oilers line, and here's Gretzky in stride. Ray Bork is back. Picks up Simpson. Gives to Kurri. Knocked down by Sweeney. Sweeney sent right, almost head over heels by Jari Kurri, and now the puck comes right back along to Gretzky.
You know, Sweeney's missed a couple of good offensive chances tonight, but he sure made up for it there. A 2-on-1 with him backing right in on Andy Mogan to stop Tikkanen and Kurri on a 2-on-1. Great defense by Sweeney.
Sweeney makes the Oilers chase so that the Bruins can get in a shift change. See some aggressiveness here, too. They have Casper, Marquardt, and Burridge up front. Wesley and Larson the defense. Smith's pass is crisply to Anderson, then to Simpson through the legs, but pumped away by Burridge. And now we have Larson taking someone to task behind. This occurred away from the play. The net dislodged. Makes you glad to have cameras that are locked into videotape machines so we can see this.
Makes you glad to have nets, too, that are on those short posts as opposed to the old ones. That net would not have moved, and you can see the number of people that potentially could have been injured. That's Craig Simpson right there.
Boy, has he ever paid the price in this series and also in the one against Detroit for being near the net, sometimes on the power play, this time in an even strength situation.
Well, he's probably hoping that that head over heels tumble will make Glenn Sather forget about the drop pass that he let go just before that. You know, the Bruins just about broke up a play. Very dangerous when you move in 15 feet across the blue line and actually pass the puck backwards with any kind of steam on it. There it is right there. See Simpson dropping it? Wow, all of the Oilers are in deep if the Bruins want it. There's the collision. It's Glenn Anderson that's certainly taken the worst end of that 2-on-1 situation.
Here is Burridge staggering free. There'll be a penalty coming up. And now more afterward, and Craig Simpson, the man we mentioned a moment ago, is down and on all fours.
And he's going to even it up. You know that Marquardt is going. The Bruins had a power play ready to go, and Marquardt has nullified it. So it'll be even strength when we come back. Boston leads 3-2. All right, we'll try and lead you through these penalties. Glenn Anderson first is number 9 right in the middle of your screen. He is the guy that was whistled off for tripping. Burridge, number 12, is breaking for it. Watch Anderson just get the stick on his skate. Down goes Burridge. And after that, Marquardt was trying to stop Craig Simpson's progress, and he is off for roughing.
Got the hook into him pretty soundly there, and Burridge helped it out. You played with a guy for several years in Philadelphia that used to really make him look good a lot, in Bill Barber.
This guy here is pretty good too, Glenn Anderson.
We're not saying that Craig Simpson made that one look good, but he's had that capability of doing some acting earlier. Kluzak banks off, along now to McSorley. Wrapped along for McClellan. Checks with Kluzak. Trickles one along that is handled by Krushelnyski, and ahead to Kevin McClellan. McClellan shoved off by Kluzak. Still working, and help comes from Acton, but the puck winds up underneath Gord Kluzak, and another halt to play.
Right, now's the time the Oilers want to get a shot on Andy Moog. I bet you Andy might even be asking for a skate around. He's talking to Dennis Morel right now. And the fog is very heavy. There's a look at it from the far end, but it's just about as heavy even from the blue line in. I wonder if Dennis Morel is going to... You know what? Andy Moog got his say and won this little request. Morel is getting the guys out to skate around.
We had a lot more stoppages of play. Glenn Sather disagrees with this. We had a lot more stoppages of play in the first period than we've had in any period so far. There were 30 faceoffs in that first. Gretzky protesting now. Jürgen Mertz is the massage therapist for the Oilers, and you may have noticed just a moment ago that Craig Simpson, who was apparently injured on the earlier play that drew the penalty to Marquardt, was getting a back rub at the bench. And a lot of old-time hockey players are probably saying right now, boy, has the game ever changed. Here at the Boston Garden, it's 3-2 in favor of the Bruins. Along with Mickey Redmond, Tom Mees, Bill Clement, Mike Emmerich from the Boston Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Hot and humid outside and the same story inside. Our temperature right now at about 84 degrees. Don't take a whole lot of stock in the fact that it has dropped 1 degree from the last time we checked about 15 minutes ago. It's not going to continue to drop. It has gone upward now 6 degrees overall since the game started. And that was only about an hour and 45 minutes ago. Krushelnyski with Janney, and the puck to Kluzak. 9:10 to go in this second period. Trying to dig it out is Janney. Still they work, and turning with it is Acton. Keith Acton trying to step to the front. Oh, a good shot off the pad of Moog. Forced back around, but into Bukaboom. Puck taken by Krushelnyski and to Acton. Then off Bukaboom, and around it swirls to Krushelnyski. We notice the fog once more. Krushelnyski's pass taken by Joyce, and he starts back out with Neely. They pick up Janney along the way. The dish is to Janney, and he's checked tightly by Krushelnyski. Acton back. Fans protesting about something well away from this. Acton moving. Rolls it by Peterson, but cutting behind to take it is Bourque. Keith Crowder starts it back with Janney. Nearly bump one another, and the puck can be controlled by Marty McSorley. Lacombe and then Krushelnyski. Not too much penetration inside the face-off circles in the last couple of shifts, but here is LeMay. Moving one for Linsman, and he was dogged all the way by McTavish, and they're working one another over.
Boy, Linsman is working McTavish over right in front of Morel. He gave the lumber to McTavish right on the head. No call.
Diving denial of Courtnall by Peterson. McTavish points it to Muni. Tripped up by Linsman, and play continues.
There's another one.
McTavish had it poked away by Peterson. Then along to Bourque. Lost his edge. Gave up the puck to Lacombe. Spun one in front, and Peterson there to block it. Here comes Mo LeMay. Eyed up by Gregg. But it is Fuhr who cancels that by swinging it back off Gretzky. All the way down it goes, and we'll have an icing touch-up. Clock stopped with 7:30 to go in the second period. On the goal by Wesley, the Bruins have the lead. You see the vital statistics on this. An important statistic is Ken Linseman's play in this playoffs.
There he is right in front. See him get the stick up on McTavish? Now watch. He scraped him right across the scalp. Look at Morel. His legs are in the top left. Those are Dennis Morel's legs. Good defensive play by Alan Peterson. He's got that 42-inch sleeve. It's got to be that long. He has done that so often. He goes for the dive, and he always makes contact with the puck first.
Linseman, the leading scorer for the Bruins in the playoffs, but also their leading antagonist. O'Dwyer sails one back in. Delayed offside is being signaled by the linesman, but that'll be broken because out come the Oilers. Curry working up the wing for Gretzky. Couldn't get by Wesley first time. Now plays one that is tipped along by Smith and gathered in by Middleton. On to Sweeney. Crosses with Middleton. Dishes it on for Larson. Chased down by Curry. Gregg hit by Sweeney, and the puck lost underneath the players. This is occurring down near Mickey Redmond territory. Mickey?
Guys, I'll tell you, the fog is just getting worse and worse down here. Even 25, 30 feet from my position, it's very foggy. Denny Morel now going to hand out coincidental minor penalties. And this Garden continues to heat up, not only temperature-wise, but I think we're seeing, guys, more emotion in this hockey game than we've seen in the whole series as two teams together.
Well, I think it's been said, I don't know how many times in this playoff, many times, that the elimination game is the tough game. It's the toughest one to play, and the teams that are facing elimination are the toughest ones to face. There's Sweeney just ramming into Randy Gregg. And I think the Bruins, we said that they are not going to quit, that Terry O'Reilly would not let them quit, and I think we are seeing a desperate hockey team. And when they play desperate, they play with emotion. By the way, Mickey, if Loch Ness Monster happens to pop her head up down there, be sure and let us be the first ones to know, okay?
I'm keeping my eye open, Billy, for anything strange. Of course, the Boston Garden is known for strange things over the years. You know, we were talking about Bukaboom's helmet earlier. You and I probably didn't have to deal with the helmet popping off and fixing the strap very much in our career because most players went without them.
Mickey, are guys more likely to take liberties up high on someone as Linseman did with a helmetless player? Are they more likely to do that to another player who's helmeted rather than without that headgear?
Personally, I think that with the youngsters in minor hockey today wearing face masks and helmets, the players are more inclined to get the sticks up with the face masks and the helmets. In the old days, there was not that much stick work up around the face because very few guys wore the helmets.
If there ever was, I guess you meant it then, right?
That's for sure.
Here is Acton pivoting with 6:40 to go in the second period, and his team, the Oilers, leading in the series 3-0, but trailing in this game 3-2. Now it is Hawgood spinning back. We really noticed the fog. McClellan then around for Hawgood, but it goes by Krushelnyski. They are in dense fog. McClellan there. Hawgood took a shot at him. Puck fired right back around to Bukaboom. Tap near Kluzak. McClellan and Kluzak lock it up, stoppage of play. Wouldn't surprise me, Andy Moog might be wanting another one of those circles by the teams because this is the worst right now that we've seen.
It is. You know who just asserted himself out there was Hawgood. Acton was leaning into him after the whistle, and finally Hawgood had enough and let him have it right between the shoulder blades with a straight left. Acton was kind of in front of him. So the youngster has expressed himself physically and on the scoreboard as well tonight.
Down in the hallway where we don't think there's much fog is Tom Mees.
No fog, Mike, but an awful lot of heat. Let me tell you about a lot of heat we're going to generate this coming Friday night. It's the 50-yard indoor war arena football on ESPN, 7:30 Eastern. And that's 4:30 Pacific time. The New York Knights and the Pittsburgh Gladiators will come your way. That's this Friday night, the 50-yard indoor war. We had a good game the other night in Providence. Almost 10,000 people, I understand, at the Civic Center as the New England Steamrollers beat the New York Knights. And we expect to have a good crowd in a good football town of Pittsburgh. So join us on Friday. If you've never seen arena football, it's quite unique. Sort of like playing hockey in the fog, Mike and Bill.
That it is, Tom, and maybe just a moment here for a sad note that we pass along in the interim. Dick Dillman, who was the original public relations director for the Minnesota North Stars, back to year one, 21 years with that franchise. We're sorry to hear that he has passed away from a heart attack, and our condolences to wife Marty and son Tom and daughter Lisa. Some happier news from the from the other league that was playing earlier in this week. We might mention, too, the International Hockey League has crowned a champion, Paul Baxter. Remember him? And the Salt Lake City Golden Eagles. He's the coach there. Won the IHL's Turner Cup, taking the title 4-2 over Keith Gretzky, Chris McSorley, a couple of brothers of Edmonton players, and the Flint Spirit. All right, fog lifted at least for now. Not entirely, but enough that they can resume play. Messier and Ken Linseman for the faceoff, and the puck won back to Bukaboom. Wrist shot off the glass. Crowder along, dropped it deep, but Anderson is there. In to take it is Simpson, wedged off by Ken Linseman, and the battle continues. Kluzak and Messier. Ray Bourque able to control. Bourque just bangs one off the glass, hoping for Linseman. He moves back with McSorley and checks him from behind. Linseman able to get the puck from that. Centered one in front, and ridden down was Crowder by Simpson, and it'll be Simpson who will go. Now McSorley and Linseman with an exchange, but I believe I saw a signal, and that it is, from Dennis Morrell holding, and Craig Simpson will go to the box.
Oh, what a pileup on the play. When Craig Simpson went over Crowder, he landed face first on the ice. I think he might have even been scraping his chin along. Here it is, right in front of Graham Fuhr. Watch Simpson go down. Boom, face first, knees up in the air. And Kenny Linseman sprung himself loose with a cross-check on Marty McSorley's back. That's why McSorley was taking exception after the play. You want to see a nosedive?
14-15, the time on the penalty to Craig Simpson. Gee, it looked like, yeah, you got both hands on the stick and you hit a guy from behind like that. Cross-check might have been called too, and we were thinking cancellation that time, but didn't happen.
One of the problems was the play went down the ice so quickly, Denny Morrell couldn't get up on the play. I mean, he's only one guy, one set of legs, and when the play spreads out like that, he gets stuck behind the play sometimes. It has to happen now and again.
Janney to Wesley, then back to Neely. Neely hit by Lowe, puck turned to McTavish, can't get it past Wesley. And it is Lowe back to take it for Edmonton. 5:25 to go second period as the Oilers clear. A minute and 35 seconds to go on the power play to the Bruins. Bruins are 1 for 5 on the power play thus far in the game. Ray Bourque steps ahead. They play the hard around, hoping for a carom to a Bruin or that they can at least battle for it. But this time the Oilers have it, and Bourque must go back. Shift change now for Boston. Glenn Wesley flips one. In comes a fresh Keith Crowder. Crowder checked by Lowe, then pinched off by Muni. Still they work, and Crowder takes Muni down, and that will take care of the power play. Maddening as it is, Keith Crowder will have to head for the box. And again, Bruin discipline has been a problem in this game tonight. Not so much as in the first three, but here's a case where it hurts them.
Well, the penalty was a breakdown in discipline, but Crowder caught himself. Did you see him get up and go charging towards Denny Morrell? And then he caught himself and just skated right by him. There's a good hit by Muni. And there's the hold right there. A good play by Muni. He just goes down, falls right on his face. And there's Crowder, goes right for Morrell, and then he decides to swerve away. Could have been worse. End up taking an extra penalty, although at this stage of this hockey season, it would be very difficult for Morrell to hand out an unsportsmanlike. There's the power play tonight for the Oilers, 1 for 3. Not bad, 50% in the attack zone. 7 shots, definitely adequate. So they are having no problems. And the Bruins finally have tallied at an important time in a hockey game on the power play. They are 1 for 5 tonight.
Two teams will go a man short for a minute 6, and then barring further penalties, there'll be a 54-second power play to the Oilers. Steve Smith taking this one. Shots in the game are 19 apiece. Boston with 8, Edmonton with 5. This is the type of hockey that they made a rule change to prevent the Oilers from cleaning up on the power play. They were so good in 4-on-4. Now some shoving near the Edmonton bench, but quickly Swede knocks Kevin Collins, the linesman, in to restore order.
You know who's having a big conversation with Linseman? Look at him talking to the guys on the bench. Randy Gregg had him right where he wanted him. Linseman sort of had his stick around Gregg, but Linseman's back was to the Oilers bench. So you know that some old acquaintances were renewed, Linseman having played for the Oilers There's Bob Sweeney, one of the 4 rookies on this Boston team here in the finals. Janney, Joyce, Wesley, and Bob Sweeney. And when you think of the accomplishment of getting to the finals with 4 rookies that have really played a lot, Sweeney probably less than the other 3. Wesley, Janney, and Joyce.
Bob Sweeney, one of 6 collegians on this Boston team, and 4 of them have played in New England. And their careers have been followed by a lot of people who are sitting here tonight at the Boston Garden. Hockey fans in Boston can see games almost every night of the week, from high school hockey to collegiate hockey in the wintertime, and then, of course, the Bruins. Reed Larson had it checked right away by Krushelnyski. Larson goes right back at him. Help came from Sweeney. Krushelnyski steps behind, bangs into Andy Moog, who was in the midst of playing the puck. That's legal, of course. And ahead now comes Sweeney. Sweeney crossing with Ken Linsman. Puck dealt right back off to Acton, and the Bruin fans upset. Wayne Gretzky just slowing the play and looking for his options. Gretzky hammers one, and it went wide. Kevin Lowe goes back to get it. In 10 seconds, that Edmonton power play will start. Whistle blown, and it's because of the fog. It could be Dennis Morel lost sight of it, although that seems odd, but he's blown play dead while it was still a live puck, it seems, so he wants the players to come out and skate once more. The first time this happened in Buffalo, they weren't really that organized, and so the players had to do it. And as I recall it, Bill, the second game that was played there where there was fog, they had everyone armed with blankets among the arena crew to come out and handle that chore.
Yeah, here's the Gretzky move on Gord Kluzak. He gets it up high, goes by him. Where is it? Look at Andy Moog looking for the puck. Where is it? He still doesn't know. Yeah, it took a couple of games to catch on to it in Buffalo. And you know what's interesting? If you had a shot of both ends, you could really tell which end was the most severe with fog, because the players realize it on the bench, and they know right now the Oilers' end was the worst. So there are more Oilers skating around on their end. You know, they know what Grant Fuhrer is going through, so they say, come on, guys, we got to get out there.
All of this occurs with 3:53 to go in the second period of a game that has really changed. The Bruins have come out and they've played solid Bruins hockey throughout. The Oilers scored on their first shot 10 seconds in from Glenn Anderson, had another goal toward the latter stage of the first period, and then Greg Hawgood, the 19-year-old rookie, got the Bruins back to within 1. Glenn Wesley with a pair, 1 shorthanded, and 1 on the power play to make this a 3-2 Bruins advantage.
You can see that the shots tonight are deadlocked at 19. Here's the story in the series in shots. You can see the number that was so dismal for the Bruins. They only had 28 shots in their first 2 games in Edmonton. Outshot the Oilers here in Game 3 by a close margin, and they are deadlocked here. So when you take a look at those shots, we will also show you the accuracy on net. These are the percentage that actually end up on net from the total attempts. And you can see why the Oilers are so devastating. Their people hit the net. They have snipers, and they are tops in accuracy in every game against the Bruins.
Curry stymied by Burridge. Casper comes in to help out. Now the power play to Edmonton has begun. It has about 45 seconds in it. Burridge still working hard. So is Casper, but ahead with it is Simpson. Moving with Wayne Gretzky. Simpson plays for Gretzky. They tried the tip to Messier, and it came right back to Gretzky, who sent it across the goal mouth. Smith with a drive. Score! And the game is tied at 3. Steve Smith fired. I'm not sure if Simpson tipped it or not.
You know, the whole thing started with a 2-on-2 situation. Simpson and Gretzky coming down on 2 Bruin defenders. They backed in and gave them the precious blue line, with Craig Simpson having control of it. Gretzky passed it in front, missed his man, and came off the board.
Told him to tell the Bruins not to go anywhere. And as you can see right now, live at the Boston Garden, the lights are beginning to dim once again as they put the Garden back onto just the emergency power. The main lights, all of the electricity in the building did come up about 5 minutes ago, enabling us to give you the shots that you were seeing. But for the moment, the game has been canceled. I would not imagine that they would resume it tonight, although Dennis Morel has told the teams to remain where they are. I spoke with Brian O'Neill, the Executive Vice President of the National Hockey League, about 15 minutes ago. He said no word yet on when the game will be rescheduled. Of course, this problem is complicated by the fact that the Boston Celtics come into the game scheduled for tomorrow night and Thursday night, the first 2 games of their series with the Detroit Pistons. So whether or not we'll have doubleheader action here That's Wayne Gretzky you are looking at now, live, by the way, and you can see that he is dressed. Many of the Bruins players here are in the locker room. I am in Terry O'Reilly's dressing room, where moments ago it was completely dark, and it is also the trainer's office. Larry Ness and his staff want us to remind you. But just moments ago, the lights did come back on, and Reggie Lemelin and Bill O'Dwyer are here with me now in Coach Terry O'Reilly's office. And Reggie, I don't know if any word's been given to you, but you have your shirt and tie on. Have you ever seen anything like this in your hockey career?
No, I certainly haven't. I mean, 14 years pro hockey, and this is unbelievable. But it looks like the lights are on now. We're all ready to go home, and now they're telling us to hold off, so I don't know what's going to happen.
Beyond that, you have no further indication of what the plans are. They're just putting you on hold. Is that the situation as it is now?
Well, I think the biggest problem is because they got rid of all the fans, and I don't know if they want to play the game without the fans.
Well, that certainly would be unfortunate if they did. We had a number of fans as they exited the Garden asking us what is going to happen, should they hang on to their ticket stubs. And I'm sure there were several spectators here tonight who did not hang on to their ticket stubs during the course of the hockey game. And the question remains, what will happen when they do resume play? So there is an awful lot of work for the Boston Bruins management, the officials of the National Hockey League to do in planning the continuation of this hockey game. All speculation here has been that it will continue from the point at which it was stopped, tied at 3 in the third period. Billy O'Dwyer, while we have a moment, let's talk about the hockey game tonight. And I thought it's been the Bruins' strongest performance thus far in the series. Do you fellas feel that way, that this has been your best effort?
Oh, it sure has. We come out right from the start. We took it right to them, and, we're hoping to come out with a big victory tonight, but it's on hold right now. Just when you think you've seen it all, this happens. So, we just got to wait and see what happens.
Billy, what was the difference in tonight's hockey game? Was it a more physical style of play, or what are you guys doing better to result in the better result as the game stands right now?
We're not making those mistakes we were the first 3 games. We're not giving up easy goals. Once again, our goaltender's come big for us early in the game, and we just got to keep going at them. I mean, we were getting in there on the D, and I think that's really helping us.
The Edmonton power play has been a big key in this series. Lots of 5-on-3s and 5-on-4s, and they've been awesome to watch. Is it just a matter, Billy, that it's their personnel and that they're so outstanding with so many snipers? Or is it really a combination of the fact that their system looks to be so impressive? They move the puck beautifully around and seem to be tremendously well organized.
Oh, they got great guys out there on the power play. They got Gretzky, Curry, Anderson, Tikin, and they all can move the puck really well. And you get 5-on-3, those guys, Gretzky's on the top of the puck, and we all know how great he is, and he's just making all the great plays out there.
Walt and John, that is the situation from here at the Boston Garden. They are still telling the players to stick around, we are told, and they are not leaving the building. You can see that there are still plenty of media members milling about on the ice. The emergency power is on. They do now have the capability of fully lighting up the Boston Garden as power has been restored, and it seems to be a neighborhood-wide problem as the TV trucks outside lost power. We'll return it now to the studio, Walt and John, and as soon as we have more information, we will pass it along to you and our TV 38 audience.
The 2 general managers with the president of the NHL, John Ziegler, has changed venue, and Dave Courtney, who's done yeoman-like work in communicating to all of us here who are doing telecasts tonight what is going on, is now searching for the location of the meeting. It started in one place, and it has moved to another. So we're a bit in the dark as to what the decision will be and from where it will come.
I'm wondering if we might have just witnessed a key, and that is the fact that the Oilers left the bench rather quickly, marched back into their locker room. They almost seem to be moving with some intention. Keep in mind, we are guessing and trying to hear what people are yelling to us from ice level. We're not very far off the ice. But things are on hold. Dave Courtney now is standing down there motioning up to us that he doesn't know anything.
No news yet. That's what he's passed along to us. Well, this, I was hearing a couple of fans who were late to leave, as we were, first of all, instructed to leave the arena because they wanted to clear us out. They said that under emergency generating equipment, that eventually Boston Garden would go dark and we would have difficulty getting out. We were about halfway down Boston Garden when all of a sudden the power came back on again.
And that's what you were looking at now. This shot is not of the darkened Boston Garden, but the Boston Garden under, what we would guess is very close to full power right now. This is a live shot that you are seeing, and you can tell that if the television cameras are able to pick up colors and likenesses, people's faces, that we are close to full power here. We're just guessing, and you can see that perhaps there's still some fog on the ice, but I don't know. I don't think anybody knows whether or not this lighting situation is permanent. And I would think that that will be a major consideration as to what John Ziegler and Harry Sinden and Glenn Sather will decide on here, keeping in mind that the Celtics will really throw a cramp into trying to finish this game during an evening.
A couple of the fans I was about to mention as we were headed down below were angrily saying to each other, well, maybe this will finally prompt those in power in Boston to get us a new arena. This one has been here 60 years, and perhaps it is the age of the facility that has been a part of what this problem is.
And while we endorse the actual evacuation of the building, you would have to think that perhaps a lesson has been learned and that a PA system with an auxiliary power will be installed here so that the people can be told something other than by word of mouth when a situation like this occurs.
Absolutely. Let's go downstairs now for their observations. First of all, to Mickey Redmond. Mickey?
Guys, it's kind of strange. Billy, have you got your equipment with you? Some spare stuff? I just got a report that some of the Boston Bruins have left the building. So I cannot believe that would happen because nobody has said that this game is canceled. But
for the guys working up a thirst, but that's a little premature.
I mean, it's a 3-3 score and it's not over yet. But I guess we are still on a hold basis. They have not definitely canceled the game. I'm not sure if they told the people when they evacuated them. I couldn't hear the PA whether they said the game was canceled or not. Around me, and I'm right in the middle of the stands down at the far end, people were coming to me and asking if it was canceled or not. And I, of course, just said to them, I'm not sure. You better hold on. So I'll bet you right now there are about 10,000 people out on Causeway Street in front of the Garden, and I'm glad my car is not parked out there.
I'm glad we're not out with them right now, because I'm sure there's a great deal of confusion, and you can appreciate why they are confused. They've only known what's been passed to them by word of mouth. Tom Mees has left the arena, whether under instruction or not, we don't know, but he is outside Boston Garden right now, and this should be interesting. Go, Tom!
Thanks a lot, Mickey. Just when you thought it was safe to go to a National Hockey League game after what we saw in the Bruin-Montreal series with the blackout of Quebec, and after what we saw in New Jersey with over an hour hold-up to start that game, here we go again. There's a lot of confusion out here. A lot of fans, of course, have left the area. A lot of other fans, though, haven't, because we don't know for sure when this game will be resumed. It may be tonight. It may be tomorrow. One thing we do know for sure, they can't play here tomorrow night or Thursday night because the Celtics and Pistons, of course, open up the NBA Eastern Conference Finals with games 1 and 2. And I don't think David Stern would take too kindly to moving those games at this late a date. So the NHL does have a problem, and this is a problem not of their own making. Nobody could help this. A transformer across the street from the Garden is out. I've been told anything from an hour to an hour and a half after it went out before it would be fixed. So the generator that does keep the ice solid is still going on. It is on emergency power. Now you're taking a look at some of the crowd outside the Boston Garden. And as you can tell, they are quite vocal. All right, back, Simba, back. As you can tell, the crowd is quite vocal. So we are waiting now. Well, they're chanting Bruins in 7, as you can see. But we are waiting for a decision. Let's go back inside to Mike Emmerich and Bill Clement. Gentlemen.
All right. We have been working, and I think with some success, to try to get comments from people who are involved in the process of this hockey game and making a decision on it. And we are persisting in that so that we can pass along information to you. This occurred at about 9:30 tonight. The power went out. At 10:05, the power was restored, and that has thrown even a greater question mark over all of this. But Peter Pocklington, the owner of the Edmonton Oilers, was within range of our ESPN microphones and cameras. Here are his thoughts.
Oh, there's no question. It's a big disappointment, not only for me, but obviously for the players, especially the players.
Any word as to what they may do? I know it's early.
I haven't got a clue, especially with the fact the Celtics are going to be in here in the next 2 days. So I really don't know what they're going to do.
I guess one of the questions that would arise is whether this can be reinstated as a matinee. Of course, never can the fans be treated fairly in a situation like this where a game is postponed, and many of them, of course, would be working tomorrow afternoon. They could conceivably leave the ice here and change over to the hardboard courts by tomorrow night. But at this point, it's merely conjecture. We don't know.
And I would think that one thing about this situation that is fortunate is that the score is tied. I could imagine that one of the teams, if they were perhaps losing, would say, well, we're not just going to play a third period. We want to have the game played over again. This is completely unprecedented. It's a brand new call. And I would think that at this stage of the debating and of the negotiating, that we may be fortunate that the score was tied when the lights went out.
Absolutely right. Of course, one of Billy's longtime teammates in Philadelphia was Ed Van Imp, and he always liked to tell the story in the American League when he and his Buffalo Bisons in the American League were playing in Springfield. They had a power failure there, and the players left the arena, as we had heard a report the Bruins had tonight, went across the street where there was a place to get some soda and then a little else. They went across the street to a pub and were nursing along a beer. And after about an hour and a half, word came that even though they were ahead in the game and it had been stopped, they got to go back and play it and finish it off. That's about the only bit of odd trivial history that I can draw on at a moment like this. You see around the horn there, David Courtney, who's been of great help to us tonight on the right. John D'Amico, longtime linesman, is the gentleman with the balding forehead directly behind the shorter man, and that is Barry Watkins of the New York Rangers PR staff, who is assigned here as an assistant to the NHL. Matt Pavlich, of course, a supervisor and a linesman for many years, is the gentleman with the glasses trailing along, and next to him, Bill Tuelli, the public relations director of the Edmonton Oilers. So the Big Brain Trust is huddled with John Ziegler to make a decision on what will happen with this game.
No chance of me going to the telestrator on some of this action right here, is there?
No, I don't think so. That's an interesting alignment that you see there with the one winger in short pants, isn't it?
Yeah, the Oilers seem to have resurfaced. Tikkanen is over there. That is another player. I think that might be Bill Ranford, who was backing up. Yeah, that's Bill Ranford in the shorts, who was backing up Grant Fuhr tonight. Tikkanen is on the ice. And sitting on the boards is Kevin McClellan.
Tom Mees back outside.
Brian, are we still are we still just on audio?
We understand that the crowd is very animated outside, as you would imagine, and we caught a little bit of that before. Let's go to Tom Mees.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. The crowd outside the Boston Garden is chanting, "We want to know," which I guess is preferable to other things they could be yelling. They're very good-natured, and let me see if I can get one of them. Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Are you a Bruins season ticket holder, or you just got a ticket for this game?
Just Sunday's game and tonight's game.
Now, what are you going to do? Are you just waiting to find out when you're going to come? Can you come back tonight or tomorrow?
Anytime.
You have your ticket stub?
Yep, I held on.
What about you, young man? Do you have your ticket stub?
Snuck in the whole season.
You have your ticket?
Nope.
So, well, you obviously hope they're going to play this tonight, right?
Sneaking again.
All right. And where else can we go? What about you? What do you think about this whole situation?
I think it's great.
You think it's great?
Yeah.
What about you?
I hope they just play tonight and be cool to get front row tickets.
I was talking to Johnny most and all.
Well, as you can see, the mood out here is jovial right now. Let me ask. Hang on a second. Have you people been told anything? Have you heard anything from the police or the Boston Garden?
No, man.
Well, as you can see, a lot of people are in the dark outside the Boston Garden where the streetlights are on. But right now, for another perspective, let's go back inside Boston Garden. Mickey Redmond with the always interesting Don Cherry.
Yes, always interesting, Tommy. And Don, a very strange happening here. All the years you spent in Boston, you ever seen anything like this at all?
Never seen anything like this. This is unbelievable. And now, Mickey, they're talking about it. There's a rumor they might play the game. We're standing here. It's completely empty. Fog's about 6 foot high on the ice. Everybody's gone home. And I saw the police, you know, they were putting guys out of the building. And the guy said, well, we want to stay. You know, maybe they were putting them out of the building. Now, if they play this game, can you imagine what the guys, they're in cars going home, and all of a sudden they hear Bob Wilson on Boston say, game started again. There'll be a riot, I'm telling you.
The Boston fans, Don, are a little bit disappointed, I think. Not so much in the Boston Bruins, but in the greatness of the Edmonton Oilers.
Well, you know, it's a funny thing. Grant Fuhr broke their hearts, and I think that second game killed them, too. They remember the 2 double penalties right off the bat, just murdered them right off the bat, and looked like the heart got out of them then. They were doing good here, and but there's no way they're gonna beat these guys. I mean, it looks like Edmonton's on a mission. Like, they look better now than they've ever looked. And you figure after Coffey left, that they'd be weaker. These guys look like since Coffey left, they said, we're going to play defense now, and that's what they're doing. They're playing defense.
Terry O'Reilly, in his rookie year, or in the rookie Stanley Cup playoffs, of course, a lot of controversy over the Jay Miller thing the other night. And, of course, you have been through some of those things yourself during the Boston days with the Roughhouse gang. How did you see the whole thing?
Well, you know, it's a funny thing. I got blamed for that in the paper today. Believe it or not, I haven't coached here in 9 years, and a guy said it was my fault, and because Terry flourished under me, and that's strictly a Cherry move that he did out there. Well, I'm sure Terry, when he left them out there, never dreamed that he was ever going to go up with, and I know for a fact, I'm telling you something here that we never told, I know for a fact that he was told it was not McClelland that did it, it was McSorley. He was told twice by officials that it was, you know, they told him, he says, it wasn't him, and we're going to be watching you. And he goes out and does the same thing. I mean, that has got to be the bonehead play of all time.
As always, the colorful Don Cherry, the legend lives on here in Boston. Guys, upstairs, Mike and Bill.
Just as Mickey and Don Cherry were speaking a moment ago, Grant Fuhr walked behind them, not wearing any sort of equipment. Still continues to be confusion. The meeting, we understand, has shifted to the Bruins offices. Let's go back to Eric Clemens.
All right, gentlemen, hopefully you'll keep us posted. We'll keep you posted as soon as we get a decision as to whether or not Game 4 will be continued and finished tonight. There's your score, 3-3 to late with 3:23 to go in the second period.
Especially tonight, under the circumstances, you're in the fog, you don't know where you are out on the ice. You know, there were a couple of instances out on the ice when I didn't even know where the puck was, you know, and so I was just going to my check and hoping that, you know, the puck wouldn't come to him or I'd be in big trouble out there. But it's, I've really never been in this situation before where I've been down 3-0. We've had a lot of trouble with Montreal over the years, but I think that we've got a positive attitude. We'd like to win this game. You know, you have to win every game now as far as that goes, but if you win the next game in Edmonton, you put a lot of pressure on them when you come back to Boston for Game 6. So I think that as negative as a situation as it isn't as negative. I think we're approaching it a lot more positively, and we're trying to turn it around and see what we can do.
I think you have to wonder what is going to happen next. First, we had the referees walk off the job in New Jersey. Now the power failure here tonight at the Boston Garden. You mentioned the only alternative might have been to play tonight, although it does not seem like they're going to do that. Another scenario that we have heard is an afternoon game tomorrow before the Celtics game. What would be your feelings about that, and would that be difficult?
Well, it's whatever they want to do. I mean, if that's the way they want to approach it and have a matinee tomorrow afternoon, I think that the players are going to be willing to play. As long as management sets something up, we'll be, both teams will show up to play the game. I don't know how convenient that is for the fans to show up for an afternoon game. They're not really used to doing that during the work week, but whatever they decide to do, we'll be willing to play it.
Nevin, thanks very much. We appreciate you coming over here on a most interesting night at the Boston Garden. Whenever they do resume, good luck to you and the Bruins.
Thank you, Sean.
Nevin Marquardt, our guest. Back to you, Walton John.
Okay, Sean, thank you. And Nevin, thank you very much. I still like John Pearson's suggestion. Call it a tie and then just head off to Edmonton to play Game 5. And if we need a Game 6, play Game 6. If we need a Game 7, play Game 7. And we'll worry about it after that if we get to that point anyway. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back on TV 38 with more Boston Bruins Stanley Cup. Or Edmonton, because as we heard Nevin Marquardt mention and tell Sean McDonough just a few minutes ago, it greatly adds to the risk of injury when you have a team that has been playing like that, and then you force them to sit down and get cold and so on and so forth. So this is the scene right now from the Garden, as I believe that they're waiting to hear an official announcement that this game is postponed. Now, John Pearson, you had mentioned that what they could do possibly is just call this game a draw, and the series would stand at 3-0-1 in favor of Edmonton, and then just go back to Edmonton because the Oilers still have to win a fourth game.
Well, Walt, too, the problem with trying to play the game tonight at some point is that the players, not only the injury factor, but the tension of having been in that do-or-die effort by the Bruins and then having the game interrupted, to get back and to crank it up and get that level back up again would be extremely difficult for the Boston Bruins, more so for the Bruins than for the Edmonton Oilers.
Not only that, but I mean, with nobody in the fans, the 14,000 plus out of there, that would make it doubly tough for the Bruins to get on track.
Yeah, it would sound like a vacated bandbox bouncing around to the puck. No question.
This is This is a wild and woolly night in the National Hockey League history. I'll tell you, they've had some strange things go on in the past, but actually it's been a strange Stanley Cup playoff when you consider the blackout in Montreal, when you consider Mo, Larry, and Curly on the ice in New Jersey, and I don't mean that derogatorily, it's just that it's easier to refer to them as Mo, Larry, and Curly, and of course John Ziegler being nowhere in sight, either for the New Jersey in the Schoenfeld and Koharski incident, and of course I don't think he's taken in one game in the Stanley Cup Finals. But that's the story, and as we mentioned, the Celtics are in the building tomorrow night, and of course on Thursday night as well against the Detroit Pistons. And hopefully, I would assume right now the big concern as far as the workers at the Garden is to make sure that whatever problem existed tonight and led to this, it's corrected so it doesn't happen tomorrow night.
And then you've got the concern of the Edmonton game Thursday night, which is supposed to be played but may not get played if a change in the scenario based on, say, they play tomorrow afternoon, which seems to me extremely unlikely in terms of what they would have to do to organize that kind of a game. What time do you start it? The Celtics, I believe, start at 8 o'clock. Big transition at the Garden, although those guys at the Garden are fantastic, the way they move that floor in and out all season long, and they've done it a couple of times in the playoffs. They're incredible the way they do that.
If I'm not mistaken, I think their record is somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 hour and 20 minutes in making the transition, but an interesting situation here, and once again, it's 3-3 with 3:23 left in the second period when the lights went out, and it's a strange situation when it happens once, but it's happened to the Bruins twice in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Well, also too, Walt, it's strange in terms of this was the best game for the Bruins. I mean, they really I saw a lot of good things out there that happened in the first period and in the second, and they seemed to be on an upbeat. Whether they could win this game or not, it's anybody's guess, but they certainly were playing extremely well, and the penalty to Crowder it cost them a goal, but that's what happens when you're talking Edmonton power play.
Okay, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back on TV 38.
The public relations director for the Boston Bruins, that the game that was suspended because of a power outage at Boston Garden will not be resumed tonight. It will not be resumed tonight. Now, when it will be resumed or what they will do with this situation isn't now known. But if you're staying with us for hockey sometime later on this evening, that won't happen. Please stay with us for Red Sox baseball from Seattle, but there will be no more hockey tonight. The game interrupted by a power failure with 3 minutes and 23 seconds left in the second period and the score tied at 3-3 will not be resumed tonight. Obviously, some more decisions to be made about what to do with the remainder of the hockey game and the games that follow in this Stanley Cup Final Series. So those decisions still to be made. No hockey tonight. Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals has been suspended until some later date. Tom Larson for NESN.